just gonna roll with it. I've got my documents up. All right, y'all good?
Yep.
The kids are almost in bed. I'm just trying to wait it out a little bit longer.
I'm actually
All right.
not good, man. These Warriors are hurting me.
So, Brooklyn is good. Yes, they
Brooklyn's
are.
incredible. I mean, as we predicted, though.
Right. I mean, hey, you know what? Oh, I was like, what is that noise? Mike is just. Hey, you know what I got rid of? Actually, we'll do it on this. 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast. Today is December 22nd, 2020. I'm Ryan. Guys, you want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Marco.
I'm Micah.
We are the Three Musketeers. Wait, no. We are Fish and Grits, the podcast. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning back in. For those of you who have already caught our most recent episode with Jaden, Jaden Woodby, that was a great episode. Great guest. A lot of fun to talk to. A lot of fun to, just get to know as a person, but also hear a lot of his football backstories that you don't get to hear from a lot of people, really. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a timeless interview with a good person. You can always, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, definitely.
Nah, it's funny though. I told one of my coworkers, I was like, you ever meet somebody that's like so focused at such a young age that it makes you like reevaluate the way you approach life? I was like, yeah, that was good for me.
Yeah, I've been working on being a professional since I was, single digit age. It's like,
Yeah, man, I had goals, man. It's lonely out there. I'm like, God.
Bruh. Like, I hope for him, I hope he makes it. I hope he does great at Boston College. I hope he makes it to the NFL, gets drafted in the first round, because he's certainly got the talent. I mean, you don't become the number 5 overall prospect and the number 2 safety in your class in the nation based on nothing. But, it's hard to make it, dude. Everyone that goes in that first round, they're the ones doing the exact same things as Jaden was doing. So
yeah,
it's crazy, man. A lot of people don't get to hear that. But yeah. So if you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, the stimulus package has been approved, and we're all gonna be rich. We're gonna get $600.
Awesome. It was so worth the wait.
Man, I'm telling you, that 25 cent. No, what was it? $2 a day, something like that.
$2 a day for the year.
Yeah, I mean, if you balance it all out, put with the 1,200 they've already sent out, and all that, it's like $375 a day, something like that.
Americans are tough. We don't need money to survive.
Meanwhile, your congressmen have been making $475 a day for the past 300 some odd days, and they took a couple breaks, had their little vacations. They've been working as they normally do, but they've also had their normal breaks in there while the country's in the middle of a pandemic, and we had we had no plan before us. So yeah, the stimulus, if you haven't read it over, it's filled with a lot of things that are just like, huh? Why is this in here? Why is money going here? This is because this was supposed to be the COVID relief package. This was supposed to be what we were getting to help all the businesses that have been failing, all the people who have been falling into poverty, all the people who, haven't been getting what they're supposed to be getting, survive. This is what they were cooking up to help us. And they give people $600. They add $300 to the the unemployment wages. So, if you're on unemployment right now, you're making like $200-$300 a week. If you're lucky, like $500 a week from unemployment. So they added
all that ended, so it's only 300 now.
Okay, well, they're adding it back.
Okay.
So the 300 is now going back to it, and it'll be back up to the 600, which will help.
It will. Yeah.
The 2 weeks that I had to use it, I mean, I didn't feel like, oh my God, this is terrible. You had to budget for sure, but it certainly helped. But that's, Nicole also still had a job then, so it helped with that. Yeah. What's your guys' thoughts on that before I go into some of the weird things that are tucked away in this bill?
I did sort of hear that Donald Trump was saying he's not going to sign it unless they raise the 600 to 2,000. So I don't know if that's just more shenanigans, but we'll see. I don't know, but it is what it is, man. The government don't give a fuck about people, man. They never have, they never will. And I think my honest opinion is I really think they should put like a choke on how much money these politicians are allowed to spend on advertising themselves, because it's an absolute joke. You know what I mean? How much money they raise. Like, you see how much money Joe Biden, not to shit on Joe, but how much money he raised in this pandemic. I mean, and even Trump, I mean, in the last days of his campaigning, he received $50 million or something. Like, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And where the hell does this money go? Besides filling our garbages with mail, and,
Literally,
are polluting our airwaves with political opinions that don't change anyone's mind.
That's a good point. That's gross. I remember in my government class, one of my government classes in college, that was one of the things that, we don't have a cap on, where a lot of other countries do. So, a lot of them aren't even allowed to like Germany. I don't think allows their politicians to advertise on public airwaves like that.
Well, there's a very good reason for that, but
yeah, I guess that was a bad choice of country. Talking about politicians getting out and advertising themselves.
Well, I mean, it's no job. Look, I mean, Trump sort of used not to say he was Hitler, but he used that kind of rhetoric.
Yeah, he definitely did. He divided. It's the divide and conquer, essentially, and they bank on the ignorance of the uneducated, the poor and uneducated, and that's what they do. And so at the end of the day, the poor and uneducated, the ones who are struggling financially, they're happy. Oh, we're going to get something. But the majority of us who are smart enough to know better, it's like, one, what took so long, and two, why so little, considering how much we spend on everything else in this country, and the commodities of the people are just they go to the back burner for other things. Like, we can bail out whole corporations, but we can't we can't put money towards healthcare and supplementing citizens when, like, in a pandemic. So
yeah, with a lot of Nancy Pelosi and Mitch playing a very dangerous game of tennis.
Well, I mean, it's everybody. It's everybody.
But especially those two.
Like Mitch McConnell and them, they really fought hard not to get it in play. And then once Trump wanted to put the plan in play, then Pelosi and Schumer started, because they wanted their influence on it. And it's just like, just help the people. That's all that matters.
It's sad. It's sick. It's gross. It's
America.
I mean, it's kind of a good thing too, though, because this year, these last 4 years really have exposed our government and our politicians for what they really are. And a lot of people, there was always people out there saying, you can't trust a politician, you can't trust a politician. But they couldn't really say, and here's why.
Right.
But now you have years of tape. You have this entire pandemic of evidence of the government really just saying,
yeah.
And for those who are only listening, that there's a middle finger.
The problem is, though, like I said, the majority, a large portion of the country live in that poor and uneducated sector.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who are devout to parties and not necessarily, they don't know anything about politics. They just and those are the ones that they cater to when they do the fearmonger ads and stuff like that. So because they don't know any better and they're not going to do the research to inform themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know you were saying they get $475 a day, but during all this, while they were struggling to pass a stimulus bill, they actually did take the time to pass a bill that ensures their salary through 2021. So everybody should just know that the government will continue to get paid and country safe.
Of course they will. And they're the first ones to get the vaccine too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And people were absolutely, because I follow AOC just because I'm not a big AOC fan, but she's a very politicized person. So I'm like, or not politicized, polarized, a very polarized person. People have very polarizing views of her. And I wanted to see what it was all about. And I was like, let me just see what this person is. And at first I would tune in and I'm like, okay, she seems pretty good. But I can also see why some people don't like her as well. But for the most part, she's good.
She generally seems to want what most people want.
Yeah, for sure. But people were killing her in her comments. So you're talking about all this and you're one of the first ones to get, the shot. And she's like, well, it's actually there's an act in Congress. There's a law. When something like this happens, your government has to continue. It's called the Continuance of Government Act. And therefore they have to, be the first ones to receive treatment and be the first ones to do this. Because, if 50% of the country dies, that's terrible. Or 75% of them die, that's terrible. It's a tragedy. But if 75% of Congress dies and the Senate dies, you're people running the country, and you're gonna have to fill those coffers with people who are inexperienced. That's a scary thing. So I get it. It looks bad, but you have to be able to keep your country running.
I think they used that law on that show that Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland was in.
24.
No, designated survivor.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, where he was the president. The show was good for 2-3 seasons, and it went completely off the rails.
I tried to watch that. I watched 3 episodes, but the problem is I watched it at night when Nicole was in the bed, and she can't go to sleep with things like that in the background. Otherwise, she'll have night terrors. So she was
spooky shows.
Well, anything with trauma or killing, gunshots, things like that. If I watch that stuff in bed while she's there, she'll wake up in the middle of the night ah, not even a joke.
Meanwhile, I'm in the bed watching The Boys, watching people's head explode on the boys.
Literally, that's how I am. I can be cool, all right, time to go to bed. But so I'm gonna highlight a couple things that were in this bill that were just why are you doing this in this? So there was one thing that a lot of people were making a big deal about is all the aid to foreign governments in this bill. There was a section in there where they sent $2.3 billion, I believe, or maybe it was 2.3 million. It was, move the decimal left or right one place. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Going to the recruitment of women in the Afghani National Army in our COVID relief bill.
Interesting.
There's tons of money going to European countries There's a statement of policy regarding the secession or reincarnation of the Dalai Lama.
Wait,
It's yep, right. This is in there. There's $2 billion going to Space Force because, even though people are dying right now and losing their jobs, we've got to have Space Force.
Just a real quick thing on that is it's funny to me that so the big conjunction thing happened yesterday where Jupiter and Saturn were right next to each other and they call it the Christmas star. It's like if you go and check like NASA or any of these other sites, none of them talk about anything real. They only ever post like fake pictures.
It's all computer generated.
But then it's like you have to look for like real people to see like actual pictures of it, but they don't have like any live coverage or like, oh, look at this or look the sky today. It's like all this bullshit and propaganda on their Instagram.
We got to fund Space Force though, man. We might have to move to the moon. So we got to get that Space Force program
Does
going.
Space Force have an Instagram? I'm about to check.
I'm sure they do.
The final episode of Dragon Ball GT. The Earth blows up and they move to the moon.
Bro, if the Earth blew up, the moon would just be on its own. Off it goes.
Just drifting in nothing.
Peace, guys. I'm gonna go find another planet.
Oh, we can't see it.
Your background's like, whoa.
It's nothing but like jokes on here. It's like a video with Steve Carell on here.
Yeah, Steve Carell is actually there's a show on Netflix called Space Force.
Oh, there is. This what this is for?
Probably what it is. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is you're probably gonna find that, which was hilarious.
They have one too.
But Space Force is all it's gonna do is protect the moon and the assets that we have that are on the moon because China's trying to get there and mine really quick, and the U.S. is also doing that. So if you guys think that we're gonna be fighting, yes, probably. I don't know. To be honest, I mean, there's no reason we're not going to start developing lightsabers and ray guns and go up there and, somehow start moving things with our hands.
Moonraker.
Yeah, for real. We also banned the USPS from mailing vaping products.
What?
Can't do that anymore.
How do they know you're mailing vaping products?
Doesn't surprise me.
I don't know. There were several changes to copyright law. Including increased penalties for illegal streaming. And I can almost guarantee you that was based on like all these boxing things, these pay-per-view fights and UFC things that people were streaming on like Twitter and what's that other
Reddit.
one that starts with a P?
Reddit and
yeah, I mean they're everywhere. You see it. There's that one service they're like, oh, it's all about going live and doing videos that way.
What the hell does this have to do with the goddamn?
Hold on, it gets better. There was the decriminalization of various minor violations, including the transportation of water hyacinths, alligator grass, or water chestnut plants across state lines, and the unauthorized use of the Swiss coat of arms, the 4-H emblem, Smokey the Bear, or name, the Woodsy Owl character, or name, or the golden eagle insignia. There's also now the requirement of carbon monoxide detectors in public housing, which is good. Yeah, that's I can get behind that because that's actually one of the places where you see a lot of carbon monoxide poisoning is in lower income housing. And the establishment of an anti-doping program for horse racing, as well as a new racetrack safety program.
Oh my God, man! This is why we're only getting $600.
It's funny, but it's true.
God.
Oh my God.
This is your government. These are the people that are in charge of you, that are supposed to be taking care of you. But in all actuality, they're protecting their assets, their pockets, and their buddies' assets and pockets.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it is.
Go ahead.
I said that's all it is. That's it. That's it.
That's why it's almost disheartening to say the next thing. So go ahead and vote. You can vote early till January.
Exactly. Early voting continues until January 1st, guys. Go ahead and vote these people in that are just going to be a continuance of the problem. Yeah, that sucks. Current events suck right now. Like they really just suck. And if you're someone that's been stricken by all this, our deepest sympathies. We don't mean to make light of this. We certainly aren't insensitive to what's going on, but at the same time, comedy is born of times like this. This is when people's best comedies are written. This is when people's best albums are written. This is what makes people better, and it sucks, man. It absolutely sucks. We get it, and we hope the best for you.
None of us are in, and none of us are famous. Like none of us are. We're all living in the same exact
lower middle class to low. Like that's us. We're here with you, man. We're the Fish and Grits podcast. We're not the caviar and
filet mignon.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
I think we got your new segment, Micah.
Right. Well done, Micah. Perfectly timed. Oh, all right. Oh, let me go ahead and plug some of our future guests that are confirmed that will be joining us here shortly in the future. But first, if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you can see when we go live and do our live shows after Falcons games. If you are listening on any of the streaming platforms, make sure to share with your friends, man. It helps us out. Makes it a little bit more fun. It's kind of cool to see our numbers continuously go up. It drives us to be a little bit more motivated and give you better content. Not that we're not already motivated to do so, but it helps us book better talent as well. It helps us look better, look like we're not just three guys sitting in our basements talking to each other. But so booked for January 12th, confirmed. We have Reggie Ball, the former quarterback for Georgia Tech. You might know him as the guy that threw the ball to Calvin Johnson for a year. Not to take a shot at Reggie. Reggie was a very good athlete. Reggie was a very good quarterback, one of the better ones at Georgia Tech. But when you are there with an athlete like Calvin Johnson, you kind of get overshadowed, man.
He did put his high school on the map. That's the only thing I will say.
Yeah, Reggie is a star in the state of Georgia. He is also a co-owner of Effect Fitness, which is on the south side of Atlanta. Micah and I have been doing their workouts. I've been doing them for quite some time. Micah, what you think about those Effect Fitness workouts?
Bruh, things crazy. Like, bruh, just like legs and arms just done.
Yeah. For those that have been listening, it's not just a fancy step class. It'll kick your ass, man. It'll absolutely kick your ass.
I do think Reggie would have got a fairer shot in today's NFL.
Oh, he would have been a perfect quarterback for this day and age.
Yeah.
He was essentially, accuracy-wise, not quite, but he was kind of like Russ Wilson. He was a little undersized. He was strong, mobile.
Or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Jalen's probably a more accurate fit. Yeah, good one. I will agree with that. So he'll be joining us probably for, depending on what we do next week. By the way, guys, y'all want to take a week, take some time off for the holidays?
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
So it'll probably be episode 35, would be my guess. 34 or 35, depending on what we do coming out of the holidays. Look out for Reggie Ball. Also, we have the Stretch Doctor. You can find him on Instagram under that name. He's the team doctor for the Georgia Swarm. He's a premier stretch doctor for pro athletes. He's done many of our Falcons, many athletes across the nation. He's a pelvic and hip specialist and a mobility specialist. So any of these, lower body injuries that require, and that are soft tissue injuries, the ones that are the hardest to get rid of, he is your guy to go to. So we'll be having him on maybe the episode before or after Reggie. His schedule's a little harder to work with. So we'll have him on, and we'll have some cool content from both those guys. So look out for that. Let's go into the Grit Splits. Y'all agree?
Let's do it.
Blue 32. Blue 32.
So we blew another lead, guys. It's our eighth game of the season that we've blown a lead in the second half. This is just kind of the identity of the team right now. the Atlanta Falcons blow leads. Like it's just it is what it is.
Nah, I joked and I put that on you though.
On me when I said Matty Mahomes?
On you. Every game that you said Matty Mahomes, you referred to him as Matty Mahomes.
I do it just to piss you off at this point.
We've blown a lead. It's like in the second half, we lay an egg in the second half. As soon as he'll make a run in the first half where he'll scramble, get a first down, then you'll go Matty Mahomes. And then the second half, he forgets how to play quarterback. And oh my God.
I want the draft pick. I'm gonna keep saying it.
It went the opposite way when I was like, oh, that's Mitchell Vick over there.
Oh, it really did. That's right. And they got yanked. 57-yard run. Get out the game.
That is a game that came back on our heads, isn't it?
Nah, and the funny thing, and we had the typical commentary jinx too. Because he was like, was it Daryl Johnston? He said, Matt Ryan has not had a single go ahead comeback or like go ahead touchdown drive this season. And it's like, all right, it's like, yeah, he's due. He's due. He said that, it's just like, nope. Like, oh man.
Yeah. Matt Ryan shook when it comes down to clutch drives this year. He's shook, bro. He just can't. This is broken.
But that, like I said, Daryl Johnson did him what like damn near every commentary guy does to kickers. This guy hasn't missed all year.
Or the free throw jinx.
Yeah.
Bruh. I still remember, like, when I first learned about it, we were watching, it was JJ Redick, I think. JJ Redick was at the line. They were like, he's hit 86 out of 86. He could break all the records. Clank. I was like, wow.
So I have a hypothetical question to sort of ask y'all. How were you mad when they completely screwed us over? We had a chance. So if they would have measured that correctly and they kicked that field goal, let's assume they didn't go for it. Would Matt would have had another chance to throw another pick? Is it even worth seeing what Matt could have not done?
Nah, that was the funny thing, because Daryl Johnson said exactly what I was thinking. He was like, I don't see how that's the first down, but I guess the refs saw what the Falcons offense was doing with the ball and just said, let's just go ahead and end this game.
Legitimately.
That's what I was saying too during the
like the dude took the stick and went like this. Yep, that's the first down. I was like, what? It's like, one, you spotted it like a full yard in front of where it should be, and then you're like, wait, we didn't move it far enough. First down.
Then they reviewed it and was like, yeah, still first down.
Yep, definitely a first down. Rolling on field stands. We were like, huh?
I feel like Arthur came down and was like, yo, we're going home. We're done.
They look up at the stands. He's like, nah.
Cut it.
Like, I don't want
we
this.
We don't need any more bad Matt Ryan on tape.
He's like, if we get to number 3, we could get a quarterback. God. So, yeah, I mean, y'all watch the game. We all watch the game. We know what it is. Like, we don't need to beat a dead horse. The Falcons just are certain parts of the Atlanta Falcons just are broken this year, and it needs an overhaul, and it's not the defense. I don't care how many articles you send me, how many times you try and pin this on the defense, how many times you try and tell me this is not the offense's fault and this is not Dirk Cutter, Matt Ryan's fault. I'm gonna take one of those cheap shots and be like, bro, do you even watch football? You know football? That number one comeback on the internet that you see where people are like, bro, do you even watch football? Have you ever played football? Do you know what pigskin is? Because if you don't see it, man, you're blind this year. The offense is trash this year.
And a lot of it is on, Matt Ryan has been sacked. I forget, it was some ungodly number.
38 times.
Yeah, I think it was like at 41.
Well, yeah, after that game, I think it was 41.
But I mean, I understand he's going through some mental turmoil, but a lot of these things are on the hands of him making bad plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
There's one in
underthrowing,
particular.
overthrowing. Go ahead.
There's one in particular in that game where it was like 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, I think, and he hit Ridley, and Ridley had to like do this like, oh, cut back under, or maybe it was that 4th down that he didn't get, where like, you know, Ridley does the typical Ridley thing where he like stops, goes back this way, and tries to break it back upfield, but Ridley was running a crossing route, and Matt threw it behind him.
Yeah.
Right.
If Matt were to put it out in front of him, Ridley would have had the first and then probably 20 more.
Yeah. It's like he was trying to protect him, but nobody was there.
No, he wasn't trying to protect him.
Nah,
He's just got a dead arm.
He typically throws it behind when on crossing routes. That's what he does, because he did it to Gage earlier in the game where and Gage should have caught the ball, but I mean, you know, it was behind him.
On that one play, what do y'all think? There was a play, I forget, it might have been 3rd quarter or it might have been late 2nd, but there was a play where Ridley was pretty much he was double covered on the right side of the end zone, and Matt like sort of threw it in the middle, and it ended up being an incompletion. What could he have done better there? Like, where should he have put the ball?
The one that got tipped?
I think it got tipped. Yeah, it was two defenders there.
I think the safety undercut it and
the one where Winfield got like one hand on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Micah.
I mean, honestly, the only thing he could have done is get a little more on it, because it floated long enough where Winfield could get into the play. But I mean, it wasn't a bad throw. If you put a little more zip on it, it would have been an easy touchdown.
Yeah,
but that's
you think you should have thrown him deeper into the end zone?
No, just less air, a little more zip. Because that's the one thing. He put so much air under all of his passes over about 20 yards that they take forever to get there sometimes. And when he needs to get it there quick, it's just like, come on, get here. And yeah. So
and as we said, Ridley is not a jump ball guy. So.
Yeah. Not
at all. There's actually 2 plays on the right side of the end zone that he did that. The other one was to Gage, when Gage was on that wheel route.
Yep. Yeah. If he had thrown a bullet,
touchdown.
Gage catches it and gets the touchdown. But he floated it. And yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean,
I can see why he didn't like low bullet, because the defender on Gage might have been able to make a play, but he put way too much air under it, and it allowed the deep corner to get back in the play, because he went from the hash all the way to the sideline to make a play on that ball. That's how long the ball was in the air.
It was also the lack of anticipation on Matt Ryan too, because Matt knows the route. Matt knows that he's about to break a wheel route out behind him.
Yep.
And instead of throwing it to where he's going to be, or and anticipating that, he looked, he saw, okay, now Gage is open. Now I can throw it.
Yeah.
Like, Matt has stopped, and I don't even want to say stop. Matt has never thrown people open. Matt has never thrown to a space where he knows people are going to be. Like, how many times have you seen Aaron Rodgers? How many times have you seen Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Russ Wilson? I mean, you can go down the line of throwing into it. Like, when the camera's behind them and you see them throw it into a spot and there's no one there, and then all of a sudden here comes the receiver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he knows that. That's why you see Drew Brees like going through pregame warmups where he always drops back and goes like this, and then that, and that. He's going through his that was from actually on our game. They were talking about that, how he does his pregame reps every time to mentally know, okay, my first read's here, my second read's there, and he goes through each play, and it's just like, instead you got Matt Ryan in year 13 practicing jump balls to Julio Jones because he still can't throw them to him.
I mean, and that's almost that's also true. Like, 'cause sometimes with better quarterbacks, when they do miss, it's like a long miss to somewhere where no one else can get it. When Matt misses, it's always into coverage. It's like
Matt could have thrown 3 or 4 picks that game.
Yeah,
I mean, very easily could have thrown 3 or 4 picks that game. And Taylor, no, we're not saying this game is solely on Matt Ryan. It's not. There were missteps all along the team. You know, the defense could have played better.
I told him the offense. I put it square on the entire offense because there were missed blitz pickups. You had drop passes. Matt made some bad throws, and there were some terrible called plays by what's it called, by Cutter. Because I mean, you now, okay, so we have Ito starting. Ito's getting most of our reps at running back, who's a smaller, faster back, yet you only run him inside. Like, seriously, but that doesn't seem weird to you, Dirk? I mean, halfback dive this 190-pound back. Let's go. Halfback dive.
Allergic to outside zone plays.
I don't think Dirk knew Ito was on this team until like week 8.
Who's this guy? Is he a practice squad guy? Did we just pick him up? He's pretty quick. He can catch the ball too.
He reminds me of Freeman a little bit.
Nah, I still don't think
he sees Ito Smith catch the ball in practice. It's like, wow, he can catch the ball, and someone like come and immediately punches him in the head. Get rid of that memory. Don't throw the ball to running backs. What's wrong with you?
Oh man.
Throw it to Keith Smith.
Yeah. Keith Smith. I'm not even gonna knock him though, because this is by far the best game Keith Smith has had as a Falcon. But
it really is.
It
doesn't say much.
Yeah.
He usually drops everything.
Boy, that man's got hands of stone. Hands of stone.
They put the stickum on his gloves before this game.
Coach, what is this? Don't worry about it. I'm hungry. I want some Chipotle. Damn it, Keith. Not again. For those of y'all who don't get that reference, Keith Smith came out on because they do the inside videos with players, and he revealed on his that he orders Chipotle 5 to 6 times a day, every day.
God damn it, Keith! Stop talking.
You know how expensive that is? That's like $100 of Chipotle a day.
We're here to play football, not talk about Chipotle.
He's looking for cameras. He's like, try the all new quesadilla at Chipotle. Keith, you do not have a brand deal.
Hey, we don't know though. He might behind the scenes. They might just slide him a little check just to help him pay for his Chipotle cravings.
It's part of his contract when he signs. The team must deliver Chipotle to him 5 to 6 times a day. They're like, what? The nearest like Chipotle's in like coming. He's like, I don't care.
Wait.
Make it happen.
Wait.
10 receptions will pay for your Chipotle.
I didn't know Chipotle made breakfast. For me, they do.
It's just guacamole, and that's it.
Oh man.
All right. So 2 Falcons got Pro Bowl nods this year, and if you can probably guess them. Actually, you may not. Common sense. If you're actually watching games and seeing how players are performing, you're like, oh, okay, I guess they deserve it. Youngway definitely does, because Youngway is the best kicker in the NFL. Hey, it's only this season, Micah. Who cares about last season?
Well, we have a certain Baltimore listener who'll be like,
no. Justin Tucker is not the best kicker in the NFL.
The greatest kicker of all time is Justin Tucker. There's never been a person who's walked this earth and kicked the ball better than Justin Tucker.
You know what? Justin Tucker's a hell of a kicker, but he's not as good as Youngway this season.
I like Youngway because he got it from the dirt. He came in the league sucking.
Boy,
now he's elite.
Boy, man, came from Georgia Southern, went to the Chargers, literally cost them 4 games in a row. Got cut. Everyone was like, nope, we're good. We don't want him. No thanks. And then Matt Bryant got hurt. Thank God we picked him up.
You know what that is? I feel like he came into Atlanta. It's like the expectation for choking is so low that he's like, wait, if this is choking, I'm a fucking pro. It's like...
I've only missed 4 kicks. You guys have done this? I'm good. We're good here.
I thought I was a choke artist.
Oh, God. So the two that actually made it were Younghoe Koo and Grady Jarrett. Grady, if you look at his stats, like just like the typical stats, like sacks and things like that, you're like, what? But he actually leads all NFC defensive tackles with 38 quarterback hurries. That's impressive.
By himself.
By
anybody
himself.
listening who doesn't necciarily watch. He's literally doing it all by himself.
Getting double teamed because nobody else can get pressure.
Because Dante Fowler's a wash at defensive end. You could literally throw out the worst right tackle out there and they'd be like, oh, look, he's running into me. Cool. He has like no moves, man. It's just like, God, why did defensive ends come to Atlanta and they're like, what's a counter move?
Right.
Huh? No, here's the funny thing. Tech was bragging on how Fowler was teaching him about like counter moves and stuff in the offseason. And now that the season's here, it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't doubt that Fowler knows how to do a counter move because I've seen him do it at Florida. I saw him do it on the Rams. I saw him do it on the Jags. Haven't seen him do it here.
He's running into tackle saying, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Literally snap. Oh, God. But Ridley, I think, could easily be an alternate. He'll probably make it when, like...
Tyreek Hill. Oh, wait, no. I'm the wrong conference. My bad.
Yeah, that's weird. Get out of my head, because that's the person I pictured in my head and had the exact same conversation with myself. Like, wait, no, that's AFC. Like DeAndre Hopkins or like Metcalf make it.
D-Hop is not going to be in the playoffs too long. If he even makes the playoffs.
I think they'll make the playoffs. Just I don't think they're going to go deep.
I'm going to say this right now. As an Atlanta Falcons fan, it hurts to say, but DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, good God. Have you watched him?
His hands are strong, man. Like I've never seen stronger hands than that. Like
they're huge. They're like this big. That's not even an exaggeration.
Him and AB and the hands quarterback are like the best hands I've seen in the past 10 years. Like,
yeah, like what's his face? I just blanked on it. Packers. Devontae Adams. Yeah. I mean, he's like he's prettier in the way he plays receiver than Hopkins. Like he's not as athletic and not as dominant physically as Hopkins, but he's close, man. He's really close. And Devontae's just like, don't try and jam him because he's going to be running by you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I mean, a healthy Julio still.
Yeah, healthy Julio.
So no shade on Julio.
Yeah, but that's the only downside is Julio's got both of those guys by like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the downside of his career versus these other guys who are in the middle of their prime.
I want dreadhead Julio versus could y'all remember how scary Julio with dreads was?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Well, but which iteration of the dreads? Because didn't he bring dreads back?
The end of the first one. Yeah, not when he tried to bring them back.
Okay.
I mean, even then he was still good, but I'm talking about like 26-year-old Julio.
Yeah.
27-year-old Julio.
Middle Robo-foot Julio.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Oluwakin got snubbed, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
How do you get a player I'm sure he'll be an alternate, though.
He will be. But it's only because the way the Pro Bowl selects linebackers, they literally just go outside backer, middle linebacker, outside backer, and then their backups. Or do they? I think I may have saw it listed different. But they don't differentiate between like a Khalil Mack outside linebacker and a Foye Oluwakin outside linebacker. Even because, I mean, Khalil Mack's just an edge defender, essentially. He's a 3-4 edge player. He's a backer, but he's the same as like a defensive end.
Yeah, I was about to say he might as well be a defensive end.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's a linebacker like Vic was that one season. Obviously, that's blasphemy.
I was about to say for shame. How dare you?
Dan was trying to move. Like, wait, didn't he just like lead the league in sacks? Yeah, but we wanted to try him out a linebacker.
Coverage.
Drop back, Vic. Like, what?
Did he just tell me to cover this tight end? You want me to? He gets that text in the offseason. He's like, "Hey Vic, how you doing? Great season last year. We really want you to improve on your pass coverage and zone. Like, did he mean to send this to me? Is there another Vic on the team? Coach, did you mean to send this to me? Yeah, man. We really want to see how good you are in coverage. I really want to be a pastor.
We need you to lock down Travis Kelce. And
Oh my god.
Life as a Falcons fan is miserable. All right, so do y'all want to do this GM thing now, or you want to save it for another episode?
We can save it for another episode.
Yeah, because it can go long.
At this point.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, look out for probably next episode. We'll go over these GM candidates. Hopefully, they don't hire one before then, and we can talk about it before they do. But
we may very well, because if we take a week off, then yeah,
that's true. This is the last episode before we take a break. Let's run a little bit long on it if we have to. This should still be around the same. So, the Falcons interviewed 2 candidates here recently, and what we're going to do is we're all going to make a case for them, including a wild card one. Marco, who do you bring to the court of fish and grits as a potential Falcons GM candidate?
For my potential Falcons GM candidate, there's this guy, Rick Smith. I really like this guy. When it comes to decision making, he's a gunslinger. He's a real risk taker. Well, let me look for so Rick Smith, former GM of the Texans. He's from 2006 to 2017. I think this guy is probably one of the better candidates. He actually stepped down for a very noble reason, and it was to take care of his wife, who was diagnosed with cancer. So it's not, he wasn't like fired or let go for a bad performance or something like that. And he previously served on the competition committee, so he has a relationship with MK. And the thing that's most impressive,
Okay.
He was also a part of the Denver Broncos director. A pro personnel through 2000 through 2005. Did the Broncos win during that period? No, they
were pretty good.
They were pretty good. 61-35 during that period.
Their worst season was 8-8.
Okay, and to me, the most impressive thing about him is his track record of drafting talent, and that's like, with all the buzz that TD put us through, I'm shell shocked from that. And I need a guy who knows how to evaluate talent. And he's responsible for Deshaun Watson, JJ Watt. I mean, 2 like Hall of Famers, Hopkins as well, who we were just talking about. Clowney, a guy who, was on fire for a second. Bouye, Foster, and Mario Williams. 39
Foster being Arian Foster, by the way.
Arian Foster.
Yeah.
And 39 Pro Bowlers under his name. And I don't even want to know how many Pro Bowlers TD had. I'd say it's probably like 15, if that.
That's a good question.
12 years, it might be a little more.
You think so?
Yeah. Think about all the years that Julio and Matt both made it, and Roddy.
No. But is this? Oh yeah. Okay. So I guess you count them all.
And Tony Gonzalez. Yeah.
Let's see. Can we even get that? But yeah, that's my case for him.
I'm actually looking right now. Oh, this is not gonna be a quick way to do it. I was seeing if I could find how many Pro Bowlers Dimitroff has selected, but it does not seem that there is a quick. Let's see. During his time at Atlanta, Thomas Dimitroff was 109 and 87. He has 8 winning seasons, 4 losing. Blah, blah, blah. Fairly strong talent evaluator, Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
Does not look like it says in here.
I wish they had that just like that.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't think we talked about this. The Lions are actually interviewed Thomas Dimitroff as one of their candidates.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be terrible for them. He'd be an upgrade for whatever they had.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. He could definitely do them right. I mean, he won't make them worse.
I think the Lions have a lot of talent. I think coaching's been their problem, similar to us.
Yeah.
I think they have considerably less talent than we do.
Ugh.
You'd be surprised. They got quite a bit of talent up there.
Yeah, I mean that receiver core is nice. They've got some good backs, some good talented backs, younger backs than what we have. And then you got like defensively, they have some nice pieces on the defense. Secondary needs some work, but they have like that front seven is solid.
Yeah.
They need a backer here. They need a middle linebacker, and they probably need, they've actually been struck with a lot of bad luck too. They've lost some good talent retiring young, and then they lost, he just went to the Eagles this year. They traded him. Their corner.
Oh, yeah, Darius Slay.
Yeah, Slay. I mean, they've done well, but they just haven't been able to keep people because it's Detroit, and Detroit is cursed like Atlanta. So I'm gonna, you know what? You want change, Marco? I want a bit of familiarity. I want someone who's kind of in the same vein as the Raheem Morris move. I want someone who knows what this franchise is trying to do, is intimately familiar with it, but just has a slightly different approach to it and a fresher look on it. I want Anthony Robinson. He is currently our director of college scouting. So that means that he has been in the rooms with Dan Quinn when Dan Quinn was evaluating players, because we've all mentioned this before. Dan Quinn as a head coach and as a strategist, Dan Quinn on being able to evaluate players who can play football and play it well, top of the line. Dan Quinn knows who can come into the NFL and do well.
He just has no idea what to do with them.
Yeah, once he gets up there, he tells them to start covering people when they're a pass rusher. So Dan Quinn is up late at night going, they'll never see us doing this. You're right. We'll never see you dropping the guy who had 15 sacks the season before back into coverage 46% of the time. So Anthony Robinson has a pretty interesting history, actually. And that's not even talking about his history with us. When he was younger, he would call Eric DeCosta of the Ravens every single day and say, hey, or he'd leave him a voicemail, actually, and say, hey, I want to be in the NFL. I want to be a scout. How do I do that? Left him voicemail after voicemail after voicemail after voicemail after voicemail, unanswered, until DeCosta finally was like, you know what? Right, here's how you do it. Go down, get your sports marketing degree from somewhere, become a coach, and then work your way up from there. That's how you do it in this business. You have to have a football background in order to work on the personnel side in the NFL. So he went down to Florida State, got himself a degree, coached football a year down there, and then became the wide receivers coach at Florida State for a little while. And then went up to the Ravens on an internship and worked there under DeCosta. So he's been in some good programs. He has the attitude you want. He loves this, and you want to have someone who has played it, has coached it, and has seen it on the personnel side, especially when they have relations and an upbringing in the Ravens system. Because we all know that's a franchise that just churns players out left and right. So that's my guy. I want someone who is gonna, keep us in the general direction that we want to go. So it's not like a complete relearning, but is going to do it differently and with a different style, kind of how Raheem and how Ulbrich have done for us. Just we need to,
or how they did for two or three games.
We just need to eject Dirk Cutter out into space and you promote him to Lieutenant Colonel of the Space Force.
Oh, we can make him Keith Smith's Chipotle run guy.
You've been promoted to Chipotle delivery guy.
Just real quick. So TD had, I'm not sure how they tallied that 39, but TD 10 players out of the 86 players he selected went to a Pro Bowl. That being Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Vic Beasley, Desmond Trufant, Austin Hooper, Thomas DeCloud, William Moore, Deion Jones, and Keanu Neal.
It's probably like if you've made the Pro Bowl four times, Marco, and Micah made it 5 and I've made it 1, that's 10 Pro Bowlers would be my guess.
Okay, so he probably has a decent amount then.
I mean, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins probably have him 30 of them.
Yeah. All right, so I have the wild card option, which is Louis Riddick.
Louis.
Louis Riddick was a former NFL player, played for the Falcons 2 seasons, safety. And most of us know him from his time in the booth and doing the commentary booth. Where he is one of the most astute of the folks in the commentary booth. What's that look around?
You say astute, huh?
As far as in the booth, he's definitely not Jason Witten in the booth.
He's opinionated,
or he's also not. He's not Paul Pierce in the booth either. So I mean, he's a solid mind as far as in the booth. He spent 2 years with 3 seasons in Washington as a scout with the Washington football team. Some of the notable names he's brought in: Carlos Rogers, who was a very good corner. Santana Moss, they got him in trade, but it was during his time. Rocky McIntosh, who was a very underrated linebacker, who actually very much like the linebackers we have now. And then LaRon Landry, one of the hardest hitting safeties of all time, until he started juicing and then got forced out of the league.
No, correction. Until he got caught juicing.
Yeah.
Started.
And then his next tenure, he did a few years in Philly for the Eagles, where he brought in players like where he was a director of pro personnel, which is very high up the chain. They brought in Deshaun Jackson, Asante Samuel, Macklin, LaShawn McCoy, Jason Peters, Vic, Brandon Graham. So a lot of Fletcher Cox. So a lot of the players that they have now, he was in that organization when they either drafted them or brought them in. So I mean, he hadn't had much success overall, but a lot of that has to do with the situations he was put in. So you deal with Dan Snyder, the Redskins find ways to lose.
The who?
Oh, I'm sorry. The football team find ways to lose due to Dan Snyder's ineptitude, and he like the fact that he loves to put his enforce his will on their player personnel. And as far as the Eagles go, he was there in that weird time where Andy Reid was on the way out, and they brought in Chip Kelly.
Ugh.
So yeah, that was when they were trying to find a coach. So yeah, they don't have a lot of wins per se, but they had a lot of talent, which you saw once they got an actual coach in there that knew what he was doing. But other than that, he's spent some time. He's worked with Belichick and Saban, so I'm sure he's picked their minds on a lot of things. So, to me, he's my favorite to be the GM.
All right, so we're not going to decide this, actually. We're going to put this out on our Instagram, and we're going to say, we're not even going to say what the question is. Once you've listened to episode yada yada.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 33. Once you've listened to episode 33 and you have heard the question, go to our Instagram. If you're actually listening to this, go to our Instagram and leave your grade on the corresponding post in the comments section, and tell us who you think won and why you think that is. Related to it, Actually, tangent. Notice I just typed something, and I looked something up, and you guys didn't hear me type.
Mm.
Oh.
I finally retired clickety clack. R.I.P. mechanical keyboard. Because it's a great keyboard. It's an expensive keyboard. It's a gaming keyboard though, and I don't game on the computer anymore.
Can you hear that?
I can just a little bit. I can just hear the thud because you've got your mic on the table with where your keyboard is. That's why.
True that.
So related to that is, Rich McKay was on Dukes and Bell today, and they were talking about the future of that, and they were saying, look, we know what we want the Falcons to do, and that's to win. But the next GM is going to have a vision for this team, and that's going to be part of the selling process. And part of that is also going to be what they're going to do with this cap space. And Rich McKay kind of alluded to, look, I know we got a lot of players who are making a lot of money, and they're going to cap strap us. And he brought Julio up by name, actually, in saying this. And when they were kind of mentioning restructuring and having GMs do their magic. So I think the Falcons kind of know that these guys are going to have to take less next season, especially since the cap is going to be less. So related to that is also the draft. And Matt Miller today, in his last day at Bleacher Report, put out a mock draft that looks like he closed his eyes and started throwing names at teams and was like, whatever. Because the comment section was riddled with people going, huh? Why would we do that? Minus the top 2 or the top 3 that are kind of obvious. After that, people were like, do you even know who's on my team?
I still feel like Jets fans questioned his pick because he had them going tackle.
Sewell. Yeah.
Yeah, he had them going tackle at number 2, and it's like so I guess we just roll with Darnold for the rest of eternity?
Darnold's gone, man. Darnold's not coming back to that mess. So, I get it's his last day, but damn, man, he had the Falcons drafting Micah Parsons, which is the linebacker for Penn State. Granted, an excellent linebacker, but you have Debo, who's made a Pro Bowl and has looked more like himself this year. You've got Aluakin, who should be a Pro Bowler this year. And like we talked about earlier this season, we've got Michael Walker. You don't need a linebacker. And there's reasoning behind it was, well, the Falcons can't stop a team with a good quarterback, so get a linebacker. It's like,
then
do you watch football?
Bro, do you know what pigskin is? Do you even know what it smells like? Are you doing football, bro? Idiot.
Have you ever thrown a football?
Can you even catch? God. So, this, I feel like this is a common theme with being an Atlanta football fan, Atlanta Falcons fan. Like, you open up these articles and you're just like, do y'all pay attention to us? Do y'all know what our team needs are? Because Mel Kiper and Todd McShay are the worst. The worst. But
the reality is no, they don't, though, because we sit here and we feel like, because we watch these teams every game and religiously, but the fact is, these dudes that are national pundits, they only watch the teams that are headlining, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then they just form assumptions and opinions on all the other teams just based on reading article titles here and looking at stats there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so lazy, man, because sorry, Micah, just real quick, do you know how easy it is to just Google this team's team, insert team name forum, insert team name Reddit, insert team name Twitter, boom.
I can already tell you what we're going to get. There's a lot of those national pundits that are going to say we either need a linebacker or we need a corner. Which, I mean, I can roll with the corner because if we don't bring back Darquez, yeah, we're going to need one. But at the same time, safety is a bigger need than either because we don't know what we're going to do next year with far as safety because we might have to cut Rico might be
Ricardo.
Rico might be a cap casualty. So, it's one of those things. it's like they just look at their list of edge rusher. Yeah, and they're gonna look. Oh, the Falcons are 30th in defense, so they're gonna get a defensive player.
I don't know who this Michael Walker guy is. So,
or they're just gonna do like where we saw, and they're gonna be like what's the guy from LSU?
what, coach, player,
Receiver, Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah.
They're just gonna be like Jamar Chase, number 5, Jamar Chase. That's.
But my thing. So in order, rank these positions of need: defensive end, running back, quarterback, safety.
What are the positions?
Defensive end, running back, quarterback, safety.
So I would go D end first, or say D end or safety. Those are both interchangeable, considering what talent is there. Because if there's a better safety than there is an elite pass rusher, you don't pass up, don't reach on a pass rusher just because you need a pass rusher. Then I would go third would be quarterback, and fourth would be running back, because while running back is an important need, the problem is there's so many running backs that you can find a serviceable running back later in the draft. And we have serviceable running backs between Hill, Ito, and I mean, you might need a workhorse, but you can find a solid workhorse from, Coastal Carolina or something like that in the 5th or 6th round and be okay. But, if like a solid quarterback is there in the 3rd or 4th round, meanwhile you have a 35-year-old quarterback whose arm strength looks to be diminishing, you need to start looking for the future at that position muy pronto. That's Spanish for as soon as possible, basically.
Very fast though.
Very fast. Real quick. I'm gonna leave them in the order that you listed them. I'm gonna say D end, running back, quarterback, safety. D end is an obvious one just because you need to put the quarterback on the ground. Running back, and I'm thinking of this in the way that Matt Ryan's going to be on this team next year, and I don't see us getting, Fields or Lawrence. So unless one of them falls, then they jump the other two. But running back, you need a good running game. Our running game has been shit this year, and it's just led to an imbalanced offense. Teams can just sit back in coverage. No one really has to worry about Todd Gurley, Brian Hill, or Ito Smith doing things to him. Even though Brian Hill's shown flashes, he just, I might even just take safety out the list and throw O-line on there. I think O-line help would be more important than safety, just because KZ is going to be back probably, but it's hard to say.
Well, unless he's just like, I want a bigger payday.
Yeah. Barring him going, I can get money elsewhere because I've had a good interception season, but I just don't see that happening. He looked bad this year and he got hurt. So,
I mean, I would keep it sort of the same. I would go D end, then I go quarterback, just because I feel like it's time to finally put some fire under Matt. Then I'd say running back, just because it's obvious we need a running back in the first 4 rounds. You know what I mean? We need somebody who's really promising. And then the only reason I put safety last is just because I'm sort of tired of the whole philosophy of the safety being exceptional to clean up the garbage. You know what I mean? Your front end is trash, so you try to get a safety to clean up all the the debris. And I feel like that's what DQ was always trying to do, just because he knew his D line, both lines at that were trash, but his D line was always underperforming. So
well, I think Dan Quinn's thing was it's just the scheme. The scheme, the safety is required to do a lot in that scheme. Like what was I blanked on his name, but who was the safety for the Seattle for all those years?
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was the absolute man. Made his call. He made calls. He had so much range that he could practically take away the middle of the field, and like could cover hash to hash, hash to sideline, and whatever. If you tried to throw deep on him, he could go from the other opposite hash to the sideline and make a play on the ball. And you know, he covered up so many flaws in that Seattle defense. And now granted, they gave a lot of credit to the corners as well, but he covered for some trash over at corner, like Byron Maxwell, Brandon Browner. Both of those guys weren't very good at corner, but Earl Thomas was so good that he could make them serviceable. Essentially, he could clean up their messes. That's why I put safety as fairly high on our totem pole, just because, you know, a good safety can, like, I mean, look at what Tyrann Mathieu has done to that Chiefs defense. Because the Chiefs defense, Chris Jones is a beast, but nothing else about that Chiefs defense is stand out like, oh man, these guys are ridiculous. But Tyrann Mathieu makes several big plays a game, and they often make the difference in whether they win or not.
The only problem is the safety
Q Cook
class.
mom is sort of fine though. I'm looking at this Lakers thing. Q Cook got a bad mom.
The safety class isn't that strong this year. That's the problem with it. It's very weak, to be honest. There's a few in there, like Holland from Oregon. He's a good free safety, but after that, it's like strong safeties, which we're good at.
Yeah, I feel like like maybe that's when that. Even if someone like Woodby reminds me of a Rico, just like that crazy work ethic, you know what I mean, and just a really intelligent guy, but actually more skilled and talented.
Way more.
So,
way more.
You know, hopefully like he has a real good showing, and we can, you know, we can be talking on this show like, hey, take, you know, because everything we say, whenever we say take somebody, the Falcons be listening.
That's true. So, yeah, we'll get them. All right, so let's reveal some of these picks that some of the national outlets have picked for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and grade them each, and then we'll take a break and go into the part of the show that I wanted to talk about the most, which was basketball today. But, you know, football just had a lot to talk about. So your first one, and if you'll notice here, Marco, I hid these from you guys so you couldn't see them. So Bleacher Report had us taking Micah Parsons with the 5th overall pick. Marco, what grade, alphabetically with pluses and minuses, do you give this pick?
Hold on, let me look up Micah Parsons real quick.
Penn State linebacker, versatile.
Penn State, 6'3", 245. If we're talking about a linebacker at our first pick, I'm giving that just a solid C. Just a C? Yeah, because it's not a need at all. When we have a former standout, a guy who they were raving about, and now we have a dude who was a defensive player, the NFC player of the week. You know, I don't see how they could see that and be like, okay, linebacker's what you guys need. So.
Unless they're talking about using him like Von Miller, or like, unless he is, you know, he's that type.
Is he that? Is that?
I don't think so. I think he's more like a Justin Simmons.
Yeah, he looks a little slimmy to be a Von.
Or Isaiah Simmons.
Isaiah, sorry, not Justin. Micah, what grade do you give this?
I say C minus.
C minus.
Yes.
All right.
But I mean, like I said, the only reason it's not like D or F is because Micah Parsons is a very good linebacker, and he you know, he could fit in almost any scheme. Problem is, we already have 3 good linebackers, and he's similar. He's very similar to what Michael Walker has been for us. So, it's just like, all right, it's my same criticism for when I said with the Knicks drafted Obi Toppin, because I'm like, you already have that style player. Why draft another one? So,
yeah. Just going off of sheer talent, because he's by far the best linebacker in this draft, and he can be used in a litany of ways. I'll give it like a B minus, just because he's so good. But it just mine's like a B minus to C plus, but I'll go B minus just based off of talent. But it just doesn't work for us unless this guy that comes in as the GM's like, look, we're gonna be a crazy defense. We're gonna be running these 3 linebackers out here. Dion's gonna cover the tight end. This guy's gonna cover so on and so forth. Like, unless it's something like that, I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, or they're rotating like Washington or one of the other teams that rotate, that cycle a lot of stuff in.
I mean, depth on defense is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean,
but the linebacker's not a weak point though. That's the only downside.
Yeah.
The only real question of all this is just it's like you don't know who's gonna, because Ulbrich I'm sure could figure it out. If you brought Micah Parsons in, he could figure that out. But we don't know who's going to be heading this defense. So.
God, I hope Ulbrich is the guy. Actually, I don't know if I guys told you this, but during the middle of the Tampa game last week, Brett texted me out of nowhere and was like, "What the fuck has gotten into Atlanta? Like, y'all got a good defense." And I was like, "Look, man, it's been this way. Ever since Quinn's was fired, this is what it's been. The defense has been carrying us. The offense has been dragging its ass." And he's like, "Wow, I had no idea." So at least people are seeing it. We're not crazy. People with good football minds are seeing what we're seeing. So the next outlet is CBS, and they have us taking quarterback from Alabama, Mac Jones, at number 5. Marco, what is your grade for Atlanta drafting Mac Jones, a former 3-star recruit and a 1-year star at Alabama, with the 5th overall pick?
I mean, I don't want to have egg on my face, but I think Mac Jones is going to be a bust. I'm gonna give that an F, because watching Mac Jones, it's like he's essentially playing behind an NFL line with NFL receivers. You know what I mean?
An NFL running back.
An NFL running back and a damn near NFL coach. So it's like, but his talent, he still underthrows guys. He's still, I mean, don't get me wrong. He can put together a nice little highlight package, but considering the circumstances, he just does not impress me at all.
Micah, when you were over here last week, who was the NFL comparison for Mac Jones, and what do you give this?
I don't know if they had a comparison for Mac Jones.
Tannehill.
Yeah, I don't think he was, because I don't think they had him in the top 5 or 6.
Okay. Oh yeah, it was Trask. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was Trask.
Yeah.
Trask. They compared Trask to Jared Goff, but
right.
Yeah.
My grade for this is an F-.
You failed miserably.
I mean, here's the thing. Every Bama quarterback not named Tua or Jalen Hurts.
Jalen is not an Alabama quarterback.
He's a Big Ten quarterback.
But I mean, when he was there, even when he was there,
he was a running back at Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. But they're just game managers who aren't freakishly athletic, and everything. Their entire job is just, I have to be able to read the defense enough to know where the ball goes. That's all they have to do, because the play designs the plays are so well designed and set up most of the time that their number one read 9 times out of 10 is butt naked. So it's just get the ball there.
Oh my! Speaking of that, I was watching that Alabama game. It's like, damn, man, we should have kept Sark.
I miss him so bad.
Those plays he was calling were looking good, man.
Well, I think he learned a lot from that Shanahan offense, The problem was he still treated our run game like it was Bama's run game. And it was a lot of inside power runs, third and short, take all your receivers off the field, bring in 3 tights and try to power it. And it's like, we're not built that way, bro.
And that damn 12 gauge, that to me, that was what put a nail in the coffin of Sark. That goddamn 12 gauge.
That jet sweep is what did it for me.
Oh yeah, 4th and 1 jet sweep on the goal line against the Patriots.
To Gabriel. They were like, thanks.
With an empty backfield, so there was not even you couldn't even fake it to a running back like you were gonna run inside. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
I'm gonna go F on this pick as well. No need to tell you why. The next one from ESPN is Patrick Surtain, the quarterback out of Alabama, by far the best corner in this class. They have us drafting him at 6. Now, some of these, draft orders are out of date or like a week old, so they don't have it updated this to 5. But Patrick Surtain, cornerback, Alabama at 6.
Is that
Micah.
the son? Is that the son of?
Yes, that is the Dolphins legend, Patrick Surtain's son. Micah, you first. What do you give this pick?
Oh, I give that an A. I like that. I really do like that because, like I touched on the secondary, and if we don't bring back Darquez, Pat Surtain is a very good physical linebacker. I mean, no, cornerback,
cornerback
that can play opposite of AJ, and he can tackle. So imagine our secondary with Surtain on one side, AJ on the other, and then either Kendall or Oliver in the slot. And I mean, dude, that like your corners are set at least for a few years at least. And because Oliver struggles so much, you might not have to pay him that much to keep him long term.
Boy. Whew. Marco, what you think?
I'd say like a B, just because this kid's mad talented and it'd be a great fit on any team. But I think that just based on what we've drafted so far in this projection, we still have not addressed any of our needs. And I think that we already have a lot of young talent at cornerback. So throwing another one in there, it might take a little bit longer than we suspect to start to show to pay off. So that's the only reason I get B+. I'll say B+.
Feeling a little gracious out there. I'm gonna go A+, not S+, A+. He is. So it's very rarely that you see a guy go into college ranked as the number 1 guy at his position and then go into the draft ranked as the number 1 guy at his position. You don't see that, especially when you go into a talent-laden team like Alabama. So you're competing against the best still. You're competing to be the number 1 guy still. He came in from college, was Alabama's number 1 corner from day one. And he plays against elite talent week in and week out. He's the guy covering Jamar Chase. He's the guy when they play Clemson, he's guarding, whoever they had that year that's going to be a number 1 pick. He guards the guys from Florida. He sees Georgia's best guy. So he's done it in college, or he did it in high school, and he's done it in college as well. I get what you're saying as far as addressing a need, Marco, but I feel like at this point, when the top 5, unless you're getting a quarterback or you're getting a world-changing edge rusher like Khalil Mack, you don't reach on him. You don't draft the best edge rusher at 5 when he should really be drafted in the 20s.
Wait, so quick question about what we're doing here. Are all these just potential first picks?
This would be our first pick, yeah.
So we're just going through a whole bunch.
Yeah, this is the outlet. This is, if you look on the left, it's whose mock draft it is, and then their pick. This is not just like picks for us. This would be, who they're saying. So you see on the left there now who that it's been.
right, I'll still stick with my B plus.
Okay, yeah, man, your grades have been fitting. So you get the best player available there with Patrick Surtain. Next, because a lot of places have not been updating, so we're gonna go with someone that a lot of people still go with. That's Walter Football. They have us drafting Christian Barmore from the University of Alabama. He's a DN/D tackle with the 7th pick. I'll go first on this one to give you guys some time to read up on it if you need to. But he's your prototypical big, strong guy that can play D end in a 3-4 or a 4-3 D tackle from Alabama. He's very good. He's very strong. He's very quick for his size. He can play the run. He can play the pass rush, but he's not like an elite pass rusher. And he's a bigger guy, so he's going to overpower a lot of guys in college. And he's playing with other guys on that line that are going to, leave him one-on-one a lot of times too. And we just drafted Marlon Davidson, so I'm going to give this a C-. I don't like this pick at all. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't address what we need to do, and he's certainly not the best player available at number 7 right there. Micah, what you got on him?
I'm gonna say the same C-. It's they said we just drafted Marlon Davidson. We don't need. I don't think we need more interior pressure because that's what he'd be unless we try to switch to a 3-4, which I doubt we get a coach to do it. We don't need more interior pressure. What we need is edge. We need guys who can get pressure off the edge, and he's not the guy to provide that. So, and typically you don't go to Bama you don't look at Bama players for good edge rushers. That's just that you can get good D tackles, but not good edge rushers from Bama.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go C+ just because, like all the things you said, he's talented. He's talented, and he ranks relatively high in all his stats nationally. But I think that he is just a redundant type of player to what we have. He doesn't address the electrifying presence we need on the defensive end. Like Micah said, he would most likely fill the role with his size. He would most likely fill an interior role, and that's definitely just not what we need to make a difference on this defense.
Cool. And the last one. So this is where it got a little hairy because a lot of people haven't published them yet because of the year, or they're just being lazy. So you get Sporting News, who's a pretty big one. They do theirs every year, and they give us Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. He's 6'2", 207 pounds, more of a man coverage guy. So again, another pundit giving us a cornerback. Do y'all know much about him?
No, because Virginia Tech isn't that good.
Yeah. Good man press corner. He's kind of like, in my eyes, he's a poor man's AJ Terrell. And at not a good of a program. I don't like this at all. I'm going to give it a D+. Marco.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his stats. I mean, I like he has 43 solo tackles, but 6 interceptions. That's also good, but at the same time, based amongst his contemporaries, he doesn't rank very high. And I mean, he just looks sort of like, yeah, I'd give it. I agree with your D. I'd say he just looks sort of average, not a difference maker for the first round, for that first pick. It's just not a difference maker.
Mikachu.
I give it a D.
Look at that.
Like, here's the thing, especially in the top 5, I want a guy who I believe is going to make an impact. And while he has the size to make an impact, I mean, he hasn't, like, the couple games that I've seen Virginia Tech play this year, which not many, or in the past few years, he's never jumped off the screen at me. So like versus like Surtain, who at Bama, you always see Surtain, or you don't hear much about Surtain because he took your number one receiver out the game plan altogether. So, you know, and not to mention we're not an exclusively man press team. So
Currently,
yeah,
who knows?
well, I mean, even still, I don't know if we're bringing a coach that play a lot more man press.
Yeah. Also, the last time we drafted a Virginia Tech cornerback, it went so for us.
D'Angelo Hall.
He was good, but then there was also times he was really bad, and then he left.
But yeah, like three or four PIs in a row. What was that one?
Steve Smith. Oh, he used to always get in fights with
Boy.
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith owned D'Angelo Hall's brain. Like, he knew how to get D'Angelo Hall off his game. That's it for the Grit Splits. I know it ran a little bit long, but again, this is gonna be our last episode for about 2 weeks, I would guess. Week and a half, 2 weeks. Let's take a break. Let's go do what we need to do, and we'll be back with more news on Space Force.
Space Force.
Space Force, the final frontier.
You guys ready?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
And with that, we welcome you back from the break, guys. That was a fun first half, and there was a lot of football. But now let's talk about the sport that I really wanted to talk about today. Mako.
It is time for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. I need to get a shirt made so I don't like forget that every time.
Oh, guys, I meant to ask you. I am terrible. So I talked to our printer, and I wanted him to make a hoodie for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, like, instead of it being the same logo we have this time, kind of doing like a breast, the circle logo there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe on the back, it could say all those things.
Hey.
What the
Your segment.
Well, I thought
or
about
yours could say that. Mine could say Grit Splits.
I thought about doing that for a t-shirt, with the quotables.
More glory holes.
Like three on the top, 2 on the sides.
That on the back of the hoodie, it should be now with more glory holes.
Let's figure out some unique things that we can do, and then get some images.
Can we do a white hoodie with the?
We can do whatever color we want.
Yeah, I want a white hoodie with
hoodie Bigums.
Yeah. So let's figure it out, and let's get some more merch out onto the stores here for this 2021. Let's make that our goal. Get some cool looking merch out. Get some quotables out there. And
let's get it on.
Let's get some stickers that we can pop around the city. Nice. Just start writing Marta randomly and like.
Right, people be like, fish and grits.
What's that?
Go down the Krog.
Literally, just anywhere you go, just whap, 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 stickers. Just get a sticker gun.
Sticker beast.
Marco, let's talk some basketball.
All right, man. So for this week in basketball talk, the first thing I want to bring up is this time of year, we always get a fresh list of Hall of Fame inductees. And this year, I mean, I would say it's pretty weak, but but it's highlighted by stalwart and surely first ballot inductee Paul Pierce. I feel like he's definitely getting in. Doug Collins, who made his hay as not only a player but more so as a coach. He recently passed, right? Doug Collins?
I think so.
Right. So I don't know if he'll get in. I honestly don't think Doug Collins necessarily is a Hall of Fame caliber coach. But maybe he'll get in because of that. And then Michael Cooper, who is he on the coaching list or the player list? Why
Player
wait so
list.
long?
Because
Why
I
wait so
mean,
long for
both.
Michael?
I think both. You know, defensive. He was one of the few guards that won Defensive Player of the Year and stuff like that. So
I'm just wondering why it took so long for them to put him on, because he's like 80s to 90s player, right?
yeah, he played on those '80s Lakers teams.
Yeah. So why did it take so long for them? Anyway.
Oh, I know Cooper. To be honest, if you ever told me his name, I'd have been like, who? But I see him. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him.
What was that noise? But yeah, Michael Cooper. And so let me just read some other players off this list who are actually didn't get on the first ballot but are on the ballot and who have yet to get in. Then I also to ask y'all's opinions on what y'all think and who y'all think is deserving on that list. So we got Muggsy Bogues, Marcus Camby, Mark Eaton. I don't know if y'all know Mark Eaton.
Oh, I know Mark Eaton. He's a Georgia Tech guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah. SWAT and everything.
Dale Ellis, Tim Hardaway, who will never get in because his choice of opinions. George Karl, Sean Marion. Let's see if anyone else on here will know. Chris Webber, Ben Wallace. And then there was one. Howard Garfinkel is actually a first ballot in terms of the contributor in terms of the what's it called? I guess it's the anchors. Marv Albert still has not got in.
That's a shame.
Yeah. And I guess Doug Collins is on there for commentating, I guess.
His contributions to the basketball world.
Yeah, so maybe he will get in based on, I don't know what the bar is for commentating, but I mean, he was a decent commentator. So what do y'all think about this? How do y'all feel about this Hall of Fame inductee class headed by Paul Pierce and Michael Cooper?
I want to ask if you see what I did to Paul Pierce.
What?
Look at your notes.
He's in brown. Oh yeah, in honor of Lamar Jackson's great moment. We were harking back to the time when Paul Pierce had a shit streak wheelchair moment, and that he gracefully later on admitted that it was a poo moment. So maybe he gets points back for that, but. Damn, bro, like, what did you eat? Were they trying to, like, poison you like Michael Jordan in that pizza? I don't know if Paul Pierce required all that. But
so many truth moments coming out this year in basketball because of 2020. I love it. So many things revealed.
Irony, huh? Paul Pierce, the truth.
Micah, go ahead. Sorry.
So, I'm iffy. I'm iffy on Paul Pierce. Not because of what he did as a player, because he was very good for a very long time. But his commentary and analysis work is so bad that it just like you've actually set back the game of basketball when you speak it. So it's like what you contribute as a player is hurt by what you say as an analyst now. It's like, man, you give me hope. Like I believe I could be a golf commentator now because you're so bad at NBA. Matter of fact, I'm going for soccer. I'm trying to be a soccer commentary guy, despite the fact I know very little about the sport, because I have confidence that I can at least be more entertaining than you are with basketball. So as far as the rest of that list, Doug Collins, yeah, between his commentary and I mean he was a solid coach. Michael Cooper, he's a toss up. Like I said, he's one of the few guards to win, wing players to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he won it multiple, I think twice, I believe.
He played on a super team.
yeah, but he was their lockdown wing guy. Chauncey Billups.
I forgot Chauncey and Chris Bosh, who are both I think second or third ballot.
Yeah. Chauncey, yes. Bosch, no. I just like I said, what he did in Toronto was great, but his career was cut short, and you know like when he joined the Miami, he took such a back seat that he just kind of impacted his the overall career.
Like a 4 or 5 time All-Star, 2-time champion.
Yeah. But I mean the All-Stars, but the All-Stars basically left once he went to Miami, and then like I said, then his career was cut short too. So, yeah, who was another one? Like some of the other guys, Tim Hardaway is one of my favorite guards, but I mean they legitimately never did anything really notable, whether in Miami or Golden State. So
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy, no, I like Muggsy, but
shortest player in NBA history, man.
He had good handles, but I mean at the end of the day, nothing about his stats or game really stood out other than the fact that he was 5'3". So
Chris Bosh was 2-time champion, 11-time NBA All-Star, All-NBA second team once, All-NBA rookie team. That's pretty much it. I mean, ACC Rookie of the Year. They call it stuff too.
Well, because it's basketball, they do a basketball Hall of Fame, not just NBA. So
Nick Smith. What do you think, Ryan?
Paul Pierce is definitely a shoe-in. Doug Collins, for his basketball contributions, for sure needs to get in. Michael Cooper, I'm iffy on, just because a lot of his accolades, the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year on the wing is very impressive. But if, you're not shooing Ben Wallace in, you can't shoe Michael Cooper in. But I think, if we're just going players here, there's only 3 guys in here that should really be no doubters in my mind, and that's Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups for his career in the NBA and the longevity to it, his winning. I mean, the guy's name was Big Shot Bob for a reason. He was so clutch. And Chris Bosh, like, he, just like you said, Micah, the Basketball Hall of Fame is your entire career. He was an absolute monster in high school, won, I believe, a national championship, was Player of the Year, went to Georgia Tech as like the number 1 power forward recruit, played exceptionally well at Georgia Tech, took them to a Sweet 16, if I remember correctly.
Might have been
Final Four or Sweet 16. He took them far.
I don't think they went to Final Four.
It wasn't that year. It was around there, but it wasn't that year.
Yeah.
With Jarrett Jack, they went to the Final Four.
Right. Which I think was like the year after he left.
Yeah.
So that was 2004 when they went? 2003?
No,
it was either the year before or the year after.
That was Elder and them.
Yeah, but I thought they were there with him, and then he left, and they were still good. I could be mixing memories, but
I believe he was after. But I think he was before.
Chris Bosh, played exceptionally well in Toronto. Like his stats, if he would have stayed there and just been a Toronto guy, he would have been like a 25-10 guy for his career easily.
You were right, though. It was the year after his departure they went to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because people were saying, like, imagine if he would have stayed one more year. Yeah, easily. That was a hell of a team that Georgia Tech had. But
who was it? Luke Ridnour?
Ridnour?
That
Big
dude,
Ginger.
money from 3.
BJ Elder was a beast too.
Will Bynum
was there. Yeah, Jarrett Jack. There was a 3. Oh, that you already named him. And wasn't no, he was after. Yeah, Will Bynum was the
Yep.
Luke Shincher.
Luke Shincher.
That's what I was
the
thinking.
Krispy Kreme diet.
That's what I was thinking. Luke Shincher.
But Chris Bosh, 3-time NBA champion, 11-time All-Star.
2-time NBA champion.
Was it only 2? All right, so
Yeah.
2-time NBA champion, 11-time All-Star, 1 gold medal, 1 FIBA Cup bronze medal. I mean, the guy's a beast. Should have been a no doubter, but unfortunately his career got cut short. He's one of my all time favorite players just because of the way he played and his willingness to, accept a lesser role, even though he could still be a number one somewhere.
And one of the few players that ever played for a team that actually looked like the mascot of the team he played for.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm a big Chris Bosh fan, so I think he should. I'm shocked that he hasn't made it. He didn't make it on the first ballot. It must have been a really loaded ballot.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I think they hold the shortened career against
There's been there's been loaded ballots.
Oh no, yeah. So his first time he was on it, he went up against Kobe Bryant, Tamika Catchings, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. Yeah, he stood no fucking shot.
Well, they don't have a limit to how many people they can bring in, do they?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a limit.
Oh, okay.
But just looking at Michael Cooper's stats, not to poop on him, but these are very unimpressive stats.
Well, right. he was a defensive specialist. Like, so he was the guy that the Lakers put on Jordan in the 80s.
They didn't do much. One steal. He's not. I don't think he's getting it. Not like that. It took way too long anyway. So moving on.
On down.
Today, I know, and this is why Ryan was so amped up to talk about some basketball. Today, the 22nd, is the start of the NBA season. Let's go. So today, we TNT brought us 2 games. The first being a matchup of former compadres, KD versus Steph. Of course, Steph is on a barren team right now with Klay Thompson, losing his Achilles in the offseason, sadly. So it did not look good for the Warriors today. That team looks sort of bad. But on the flip side, let's talk about the Nets. The Nets we already knew as a deep team, a team capable of procuring an 8th seed without KD or Kyrie. So adding them in there, we knew that they were instantly going to be, really good. But they might just be really great. And so it's not necessarily fair to compare the Warriors to them against them. I think that the Warriors can get wins against other teams, but I want to know. Okay, let me read the stat lines real quick. I pulled it up over here. So for the Warriors, Steph was really the only one who showed up, and he didn't show up. So Steph played 30 minutes, 7 of 21 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3, 20 points, 10 assists. So he had a game as a point guard, only 3 turnovers to 10 assists, which is good. 4 rebounds. What did Wiseman do? Wiseman had 19 and 6. I want to see those rebounds go up. That was pretty much it. Kent Bazemore, he had 2 points.
The fact that you named his stats, Kent Bazemore. No,
I just wanted to say that to be funny. Oubre only had 6. He was 3 for 14. Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Andrew Wiggins, 13, 4 for 16. Jesus Christ.
Good. Brick City.
Right. Anybody KD's on is gonna struggle. You know that.
It didn't even matter if KD.
Yeah, but even when KD wasn't in the game, they still launching up.
It was Tayshaun Prince time.
Rain Man.
and let me just tell you this. So on average, so Steph's plus minus was -23. Andrew Wiggins -28. Eric Paschall -28. Oubre -28. Like,
yikes.
Your starters, like the best starter was Wiseman at -10.
Hey, and he probably had one of the harder matchups with Allen and Jordan.
That kid looks good. I'll just say, like with Klay, I think the Warriors shan't worry too much. If Klay comes back next year, I think they'll be fine. But on the flip side, the Nets, KD, 22 points on 7 of 16 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, 7 of 7 from the line. Kyrie absolutely killed it. 26 points on 10 of 16 shooting, 4 for 7. But he always has great games at the gate, so that's nothing new.
And then Steph's guarding him.
You say what?
And when Steph is guarding him.
Yeah, exactly. When Steph is guarding him, or anybody they try to put on him on that team, it's just gonna be bad. But then the supporting cast all around him just continued to contribute. I saw great passes from KD. Let me see what did my man Joe Harris had? 10 points, 2 for 5 from 3. But everybody on their team, the only person in the negative was Bruce Brown and Reggie Perry, who I don't even know who those are. But as a team, they averaged a plus 26 to the Warriors negative 26.
Yikes.
KD was 26. Kyrie was 32 plus minus. That's crazy for Kyrie, right? So I just want to give me a little perspective, Ryan, on what does this mean for the Warriors, and what does this mean for the Nets this first game? Am I overreacting by saying the Warriors are one of the worst teams in the league?
Yes, you most definitely are. They'll get there, man. It's gonna be anytime you lose Clay, your number 2 guy who is elite and a stopper, and you throw in all these new guys on a shortened, off season. It's gonna take a minute, man. It's gonna take a minute. Also, you have one of the teams that was most amped up to play because of the injuries from KD. It's been almost 2 years since we've seen KD. Kyrie was essentially just waiting out last season for KD, and he's also coming off an injury. And it's Steve Nash, man. You didn't know what the hell to expect from that team. So, again, the advantages of having a team, a good team with a coach change that you don't know what's coming from them. But that's not to say that they're going to be a bad team. The Nets could easily be the 1 seed with the talent they have. They could also easily be the 7th seed with all the personalities they have. So, no, I won't say that. With KD, you'll never be below like the 4th seed. But yeah, it's the Warriors are not that bad. They're not as good as we thought they were going to be. Maybe.
I'll also add LeVert. I added 20.
Karis LeVert and Dinwiddie coming off the bench, man. Like, come on.
Micah, what is this implications for the season of these two teams? What do you think?
You definitely overreacted. That there are Golden State's talented, but it's a very, very new style team than what they've had over the past few years. So now, granted, Wiggins played a few games with them last year, but not many. So the chemistry isn't there yet with Wiggins. Oubre is brand new there. Wiseman's brand new there, which I actually love to see that he did well playing with Steph because, I makes me feel like my pick for Wiseman as Rookie of the Year might actually come to fruition. I think they'll get better. They just got to get some chemistry. It's going to take them a month or two to get used to playing together. Brooklyn's good. You took a team who had great chemistry, even without their 2 best players. They had great chemistry, and hell, in the bubble, they made some runs in the bubble, and they had like half of their actual roster. So
guy.
Yeah. So I mean, they're a talented team. They got a lot of young talent, and then you add KD and Kyrie to that mix. Now the only thing is, how will KD get tired of Kyrie before the end of the season? We don't know. How many times will Kyrie call his own number at the end of a close game? We don't know. Like I said, there's a lot. I think that, but Brooklyn being good doesn't surprise me because, like I said, everything else in place, like they already have team chemistry. The only thing they did was add KD and Kyrie, who outside of Kyrie, KD is a guy who can fit into a system. He's not one that's just like, give me the ball, I'm gonna dominate. I'm gonna dominate every shot and whatever. He wants to win, so he's willing to put some of his numbers aside for the team. Versus, Kyrie, I'm not 100% sure on that though.
You know what I just realized too, though?
But
The Warriors were missing their donkey.
Oh,
He didn't play.
Draymond did not play. That's true.
Yeah, so that's a huge piece to miss, especially
that's their energy guy
to
and
guard,
a defender.
Yeah, he could have
and their leader.
put a body on KD and LeVert and some of these wings and interior men.
Yeah, I mean, he ultimately he's their leader. While Steph's their best player, they feed off of Draymond's energy and just his leadership skills. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And when he's not there, it's noticeable. Hence the finals that year when once he got suspended in Game 5, it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm overreacting a bit, and I think the Warriors can still probably compete for that 9-8 seed, but just like the Bazemores, the Andrew Wiggins, and the Kelly Oubres of the world. I mean, I think we're just gonna quickly find that you cannot rely on these guys, and they just picked the Warriors. Just have a lot of players that you cannot rely on, and Steph, as transcendent as he is, he needs somebody to spread the defense out, which is why Wiseman can be that, but he needs somebody so they can't just run 4 people at him all day, so I think it's going to be a tough season for them.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. So the other game of the night, it was the Clippers versus the Lakers in a shaming ritual for Kawhi, so he has to watch them get their rings with Paul George standing next to him.
He just looks over at him.
So this game is currently in the second quarter. It just started. The Clippers are putting it on the Lakers right now, up 39-19. I was thinking we would get to this before the game started and just get an outright prediction.
What are you saying? The football segment took too long?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm just saying the basketball came too fast. But so far, let's just look into these stats and see if they tell a tale. Kawhi is 2 for 6 right now with 8 points, plus 16. PG is also plus 16. He only has 1 shot, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. I did see him, I looked over to the screen. I saw him, Lou Will swung a pass to him, and he literally just threw it out of bounds. It was like nobody was there, Paul George.
Sorry.
I do want to add Serge Ibaka was a huge contribution to this team. He already has 8 points on 3 for 4 shooting because he puts someone with a brain in the post, because no offense to Montrezl Harrell, but he's not a very smart basketball player, and nor does he have skills other than just brooding you at the basket. This dude doesn't even attempt jump shots.
Did you see that?
What happened?
Paul George just airballed a layup.
Oh, did I missed that. Wait, it might be about to happen now. I think I'm a little behind you. Hold on. Wait for it. Ah!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Nah, it's funny.
He made the next one though. You had a run out.
You said Kawhi. Ooh. Kawhi looked at Paul George when they got their rings. I bet Kawhi probably said to him, "I want a ring with Kyle Lowry."
Kyle fucking Lowry.
Let that sit in. Kyle Lowry played better than you.
Man. It is tough. But yeah, like I said earlier, they still don't have a point guard. Patrick Beverly's playing, but Reggie is not. Let's see what's going on with the Lakers. LeBron has played 7 minutes, 1 for 4, 3 points. I don't think the Lakers really give a damn right now. They're just going through the motions. We know that they're still. So, I mean, y'all can just say whatever y'all want about these two teams at this point. I don't really have a way to direct this.
The Clippers are gonna win this game. the Clippers are going to be better for half the season. And it's going to happen just like last year, where the Lakers come storming back and take it.
Like, oh, it's time to play.
Yeah. Basketball time.
Not. Here's what I thought last year. So last year, early in the season, like the Lakers were the ones who emphasized they wanted the number 1 seed, and they played hard, and the Clippers just beat them downright for the first 3 games. And then we took the break, and then when we came back for the bubble, the Lakers just imposed their will on everybody. They came out fresher, and they played with that same sense of urgency they had for most of the season. And the Clippers just played like, all right, well, we're just trying to get in the playoffs, and once we get in the playoffs, we feel like we can beat anybody, which they couldn't beat Denver. I think this year, it wouldn't surprise me if the Clippers show a much more sense of urgency this season and are going to try to get that number 1, are going to try as hard as they can to get that number 1 seed, and they want to keep the momentum going. And I think the Lakers are going to have that mentality that I thought the Clippers had last year, where it's just like, we just want to get 3-4. We're going to rest. We're going to rest early. We want to get in the 3-4 range. And then once we can, but we just want to slowly get back into shape and get in the rhythm. And by the time we get to the playoffs, we should be the full force that we think we're going to have. We're going to beat the brakes off everybody like we did last year. So I think that's what it is. I think the Clippers now, outside of playoff P, they're going to show much more sense of urgency, versus Paul George. They might trade him because he out there airballing layups and stuff, man. They might just say, we can't win with this guy. We can't win with this guy.
We're going to trade John Collins for Paul George.
Oh, I hope not. Please, no. Now, granted, God damn it.
You just thought about how possible that is, didn't you?
I know that we got to do something with Collins because of all the depth and the contract coming up, and we're probably not going to pay him max, but
we're not.
Yeah.
He didn't get the deal.
But that, oh my God, that I would not. I don't wish that on. I don't wish that on us. We have enough. We have enough rough times as Falcons fans, let alone adding that into our Hawks roster. And knowing us, he'll probably move like Cam Reddish to the bench or like take minutes from Hunter. And it's like, why is this guy out here?
Yeah, man. I think that I think the one thing that will happen this season is this in the playoffs, we might actually get the matchup we wanted between the Lakers and the Clippers in a series. It probably won't be in the finals, in the the Western Conference Finals, but I think we'll get that, and the Lakers will probably be victorious because last year was their chance to beat the Lakers. This year, the Lakers are clearly better. Like, they stacked up that team, and you know what I mean? So they sort of missed their window, and the Clippers are cursed, man. That's not a joke. They are literally cursed.
Oh man! Paul George goes from MVP candidate to just trash
to pretty garbage. So James Harden, and some more James Harden news. He's a constant topic of conversation in the NBA realm because he is an attention monger. So during the practice on Monday, things steamed over and he threw a basketball at his rookie teammate, Jayshawn Tate. Why are you throwing basketballs at rookies, man?
Hey, Rook.
What could the rookie have said to make you that mad? So the normally laid back James Harden, he's been noted as being on edge and argumentative since returning to the team. Like, at this point, would you even want James Harden on your franchise? Like, what kind of leader is he, man?
He's not. I think Shannon Sharp pointed to it and said, there's a common denominator. Everywhere James Harden goes, players like whoever his number 2 is can't stand him. They're just like, and it's like, yeah, you could say that other player is the problem, but when every time the number 2 option always has a problem with James because he's so obsessed with his numbers, there's a much bigger problem there. And what Jay Sean Tate probably said to him was, "Hey, bro, can you score without traveling?"
Hey, bro, can you move without the ball? Fuck you.
What do you mean without the ball? What do you mean without the ball? What are you saying?
What you trying to say, Rook?
I always have the ball.
Or maybe he said, "Hey, man, get your eyes up. I'm open in the corner." What?
I'm sorry. Was that a rookie speaking? I know a rookie just didn't tell me he's open. I only got 12.
Oh, man.
The funniest part of the story, though, is that he threw the ball at the rookie, but he missed him, which is indicative of James Harden's passing skills as of late.
I told y'all he couldn't pass. If I was Tate, that's what I would say. Told you he can't pass. That's why he don't.
Man, oh man, that's enough James Harden talk. So yeah, but the last thing I'll say about James Harden is the part that makes it the worst to me is that Houston team is actually pretty talented, man. And it's like that team is one of the better teams he's had in a minute. You know what I mean? Christian Wood's out here looking like a young AD Giannis combo, and John Wall is healthy. You know what I mean? And they got Boogie out there. You know, Lightning can't strike 3 times in the same spot, so I'm assuming he's gonna stay healthy this season.
Watch all of them be like, "Man, we're done. We won out."
Right. I mean, that team could be competitive even without James Harden. So I don't know why he's so adamant about getting out there. But I think the main reason, I'll just throw this as insider information. The main reason is because when they hired the coach, apparently this was the first time that someone ever told James Harden no. Because ever since he's been with the organization, everything he wanted happened. Whether it was getting rid of Kevin McHale, whether it was bringing Dwight Howard, getting rid of Dwight Howard, bringing Chris Paul, getting rid of Chris Paul. All these moves, it was just a yes. And now they finally told him no. And he's like, "Oh, well, I want out," you know?
Yeah. He's a diva.
Yeah, he's a diva.
I don't want any star player on a team that when you're in training camp goes to Atlanta and then Vegas. Right. And then when it's asked about it, like, I was training. And people are like, "No, you weren't. There's cameras." He's like, "That's where my trainers are." They're like, "No, you weren't."
And he came back like 20 pounds overweight.
Bruh. Ain't no way I don't want anybody like James Harden on my team.
Right.
No thanks.
He's trying to get in Brooklyn, who's like rolling now. They don't want your ass, man. So
the test to get on Brooklyn is Kyrie meets you and says, "Draw me a picture of the earth." If you draw a circle, he's like, "Get the fuck out! We don't want you.
Stop spreading false information."
If it's anything other than this, no.
Then he'll burn sage. He'll burn sage and walk around you. You saw that man sage in the court before.
Oh man.
The spirits here are bad now. Get that negative energy out of here.
Sage my rookie, or sage my locker, rookie.
You round earther.
Idiot. You think it looks like a ball, like a basketball? If we were on it, we'd all fall off.
And he's like, "Right, Katie?" And Katie's like, "Yeah."
Whatever you say, man.
Man, you know Kyrie. That's just the Kyrie thing to do. Look at Kyrie being Kyrie.
Oh,
like an old sitcom. Oh, Kyrie.
Oh,
He looks at the camera.
Oh man. Anyway, so on to the next thing. The NBA is now home to 107 international players and a record of 14, which are from Africa, and 17 are from Canada. This demographic accounts for nearly a third of the entire league. what does this say about the future of the game? And now with the NBA aiming to go back overseas to continue to grow the game, like how do y'all see the game, in the international aspect of this game in the next 5 years, especially considering the favorite for the MVP this year is Luka, who's obviously international. Giannis, two-time MVP international. What's going on out here?
This is awesome. The one thing I don't want to have, I want basketball to spread, and I want it to spread around the world. What I want to happen is kind of similar to what happens with soccer. Is have a league here, so have the National Basketball Association, have your teams. Maybe if you want, go up to like 40 teams. Like if you need expand, expand within the states and things like that, or within North America, excuse me, and let that continue to grow here, and let that be the Premier League, not, well, I guess like the Premier League in soccer, since I made that analogy, and then have a European league, and then at the end, or maybe have an African league, and so on and so forth, a South American league, and then have the winners of each of those, shorten the season by 10, 12, 15 games if you want, and each have them all meet and play in like a Champions League. I would love to see that. That would be awesome.
Are you saying it would almost be like an Olympic style?
Kind of, but granted, it's your teams. You don't have to be just like a representative of that country. Mm-hmm. It literally be the best teams, like it is in soccer.
Okay, I feel what you're saying.
So would that potentially, with your idea, would it get rid of the G League? So a lot of G League talents might go to the overseas.
Well, yeah, I guess it would, because there'd be no need for a G League anymore.
Yeah.
But or just have every team have a G League.
Yeah. Or it could just be their way to get into the international basketball market.
Right.
Personally, like I think what it's kind of, I think it goes with the direction of basketball. Since we've moved to more positionless basketball over the years, that's one of the big things that like Europe and them, they teach is a more versatile style of play. Even 7-footers, like 7-footers and stuff, they can handle the ball, they can shoot. I mean, look at Jokic. I mean, 7 foot. Now, granted, he did play as a point guard, but as a 7-footer, he can dribble, he can shoot, he can pass. He's slow, but he like I said, he has the skills of a wing player, and I think that's ultimately what it's indicative of the leagues going in that direction. Like, we're not going to see as many. We're not going to see like Shaqs anymore, because now granted, Shaq was very skilled as a big, but the back to the basket is working its way out of the league. And I think Europe, the success of a lot of European players like Nowitzki and what was the guy's name from the
Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah, that's one. Like guys like that, and they've kind of opened up a lot of these scouts' views on alternative ways to play, and it's more progressive. The NBA is more progressive than definitely MLB and the NFL, as far as trying different, like trying things from different regions, like taking styles and like, oh, this could work and this would work here and blah blah blah. So
right, imagine if the MLB ever embraced their Latin culture. Like, imagine how much that would pop.
Well, I mean, any culture, like the fact that there's so few Black MLB players, and they don't even know how to even try to reach out to get more black kids to play the sport. And Well, and really I'm not trying. I don't want to get too much into this, but like Lionel talked about it, how expensive it is to play competitively at baseball, and it's like you've put a class system on your skill, like building, like being good enough to play at a high level, and that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the love for the game is just, I think we're just seeing a point where, like, because before it might have just been like, okay, we see Dirk or we see Drazen, or even like Dragon, but now it's almost like Luka's watching LeBron, and Luka's copying LeBron's every moves. You know what I mean? And he's learning to play like our elite players without limitations. And I think the love for the game is just giving us more and more of these guys where there is no, uh, there's no, the hard work is gonna lead to them from a young age, lead to them being just as skilled as some of our players here, even if they're not as athletic. You know what I mean? And like you said, the game has changed so much where this open style of basketball is catering to them. So I know they're a lot more, excited and intrigued to get in the league now, because they can showcase the things that they've been working on for so long.
I agree.
So little Hawks talk. They are scheduled to play the Chicago Bulls tomorrow, I believe, in the season opener, which should be a good, jumping point. To get it feeling good about ourselves, or it could be a good jumping point to be like, damn, what is all these chefs in the kitchen? So while the Hawks won 2 of their preseason games, they didn't necessarily look that great doing it. And it seems that the chemistry curve that we anticipated may be a little bit steeper than we thought, with so many mouths to feed and a lot of them being young, and the young players need minutes, you know what I mean? Especially when we brought in not like old vets, but mid-aged vets, who also need minutes. So, and Trey looked just very out of rhythm, was missing a lot of shots. Does this worry y'all at all about just, maybe we got too busy in free agency, or just any concerns at all out of y'all for these?
First question I have for you, Marco, is do you have your eye patch ready to watch this game? You gotta pirate it. Arr.
Oh man, I don't want to get fined, bro. I'd never pirated anything in my life. I don't know.
I know now that in our COVID relief bill, there's steeper fines for pirating things.
I've never done such a thing in my life. I don't know what you're talking
about. No, I'm not worried. Not with Trey at least, and then I'm not worried just because there's so much talent on this team and so much. We brought in people that know how to win, and I'm not even going to put that negativity out there. The Hawks are okay. They're going to be good. They're going to give up a lot of points, but we're going to outscore a lot of teams, man. We're just going to, even if it's just through attrition, everyone we put on the court can score at this point, minus Capella. And even he can score on offensive rebounds and on lobs. So, no, I'm not worried.
I'm like Trey, definitely not worried, because Trey even last year Trey averaged over 30 a game, and what was it, 30 or was he around 29?
Just under 20, just under 30.
Just under 30. But he averaged almost 30 a game, and he had some streaky nights, some nights where he didn't shoot well. So it comes with the territory, especially with his shot selection and stuff like that. The only thing that does kind of worry me is Lloyd Pierce, because Lloyd Pierce hasn't always been the greatest decision maker, and lineups are key. How you utilize your players, the matchups are very key, and it's just, I'm still not sold on his ability to put those kind of matchups and lineups together. So
yeah, and I definitely agree with what you said there, and that's honestly what worries me about all this talent we have, because just watching some of these preseason games, I feel like if any, not to say like Bogdanovich is very talented, but if there's one player that I would have said we probably didn't need, it was him. Because I think when you bring him in, it brings a lot, especially for a coach like Lloyd Pierce, it brings a lot of questions into the team and uncertainty about, you know, who's starting, what are your lineups and all that stuff. When I think maybe we should have just kept on pushing forward with our young talent that we had on the wing, you know, and just letting them, you know, come further into the game. But like I said, I'm not going to disrespect Bogdanovich because he's a very talented player. But I see, if anything, I could just see that being sort of a detriment, because when Trey and Bogdanovich start together, I feel like they run all these sets that take Trey off the ball, and that's just not saying he can't play off the ball, because he can, but you move him from an elite player to an average player when he's just, you know, pinning down and trying to play like Steph out there, you know, which is, I'm sure, you know, something that they were just trying out. But I don't know, it looks awkward, and I think it messes up his flow a little bit. But, you know, I'm not entirely worried. But I mean, as a Hawks fan, I will say I'm petrified. I'm always scared of what might not happen. So I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not worried, but I'm always worried about whether the Hawks can, you know, especially like if we get off to a hot start, and then I worry, like, is this just fool's gold, like that season with chocolate shoulders and German chocolate, where they got off to like with Paul Millsap we got off to like a 10-2 start or something crazy, but then we finished around like 500. And I was like, damn. But yeah, man, y'all are right. Y'all are right to not worry though. Like, for them to blow this, it would be substantial. So just a couple more stories. One is a funny one, and the last one is just news for the listener, not really anything to comment on. But so Malik Beasley, I don't know if we talked about this a little bit, but former shooting guard of the Nuggets, currently a Timberwolf, he pleaded guilty to using a rifle to threaten a family, but it was the scenario that sort of was like unusual to me. So apparently he's living in a home that was for sale or something like that. So a family pulled up. They didn't say the race of the family. I don't know. I'm not going to assume anything, but a family pulled up in an SUV, and they were ready to come out and start looking into, they wanted to get a walk around through Malik Beasley's house. But Malik Beasley wasn't having it. So he walked outside, greeted them in the driveway with a rifle, pointed it at their car. And now he has pleaded guilty to pulling a rifle on a family to threaten them off of
brandishing a weapon
on a family in an SUV. He must have been going through something. Him and his woman Yao, I believe they called her Yao. Her name was Yao. I was like, wait, this talking about Yao Ming and Malik Beasley live together?
What a house that would be.
They did say that they found leafy marijuana on the premises.
What does that mean?
Which to me, it says one thing. Maybe he's a paranoid. He's one person gets paranoid when he gets high, and so they trying to run up on me. Oh, let me get the cat.
Oh God!
I'm going outside. It's like, baby, don't go out there. I'm going out. They don't know where they might go with. I'm Malik Beasley, goddammit.
They think I'm a joke, don't they? They must think I'm a joke.
They didn't see my highlight pack. But so I guess I'm assuming that he must have just moved into the house, and they must have mistaken it for not sold, because they're saying that it was in Minnesota, because the leafy why do they call it leafy marijuana? What does that mean? Is it more leafy than other marijuana?
This is that special leafy weed.
Is it a plant? Was it a raw plant?
Or maybe it might have just been the raw plant. He might have hadn't grinded
just
yet.
Carrying a plant in one hand and a rifle on the other. Don't you know who I am?
I'm Malik fucking Beasley.
Oh man.
Michael Beasley, nah, bitch. Malik
I
Beasley.
should have been the number 1 pick.
Oh man. Well, anyway, so just wrapping up. So Markelle Fultz and the Magic have agreed to an extension, which was a little surprising to me but I'm glad Markelle Fultz has been able to find a second home in the NBA after like busting out all the way in Philly. It's a saving grace because Anthony Edwards might end up being a bigger bust than Markelle Fultz. That dude looks sort of bad so far. Jonathan Isaac also got an extension, Mr. I won't take a knee but blow my knee out. Yeah, so and then the Spurs agreed to an extension with Derek White. I think Derek White's very talented, very talented shooting guard. And the weird one to me was Rui Hachimura will be out for 3 weeks with an eye infection. What the hell kind of eye infection is that?
That ain't pink eye.
Pink eye takes 3 weeks?
No.
COVID.
Yeah, like did he get COVID in his eye? Like what the hell kind of?
Or maybe he was doing something nasty, met one of them freaky girls and
one of those Japanese freaky things, like
she done R. Kelly'd his eye.
Something with tentacles.
Or maybe he like Odell Beckham.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You're right. There has to be something bad here. Did he get poo in his eye? Because what? Why the hell are you missing 3 weeks for an eye infection? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh man.
He was hanging out with Todd Gurley.
Oh my god.
Todd's like, hey man, this call's for you, huh?
Oh man.
Don't worry, I wiped it down.
Did we talk about that last show?
Yeah, you did.
With Todd Gurley and his shitty phone.
And no, it's not an Android, guys. It's just a phone that was dropped into shit.
Oh man,
the muscle protein,
muscle protein shit. It's probably that muscle milk for shit. So it's not...
Oh god, let's get off the topic of shit.
Sorry, Rui.
While we still can.
Anyway, that's it for the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint.
All right, so next up on the list is the MLB with the suicide squeeze.
I like it.
So, the MLB is struggling with the decision of whether they should have a full 162 game season, due to the COVID concerns and everything. So, as of right now, the players' union is fighting to postpone spring training and to lower lower it to 134 games and give them full pay, which, I mean, wouldn't be a bad idea. They play 28 less games, and you pay them the full price.
I swear these MLB negotiations are always so like non-reasonable. It's always, it's just like there's never any like give and take. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna play less games, just pay us everything. It's like, what the hell? Like,
we want it all.
We want less games, more money. That's all.
It's not negotiation.
Which, I mean, it's at 28 less, but considering, baseball and how long the season is, 28 less games doesn't make that big of a difference. And it probably gives them more time to rest up and, do stuff like clean, because we're still in COVID times. Vaccination is not widely spread yet. So next up on the
wait. Hold on, before you go on to the next thing. How come the MLB always has the most time to think about these things, and yet they they get to the point and they're like, I don't know.
Every
I don't know
time.
what we're gonna do.
They start talking about it like 4 months before spring training, and yeah, every time.
And
they
they're
never
like,
come to a decision.
we may play, we may not play, we may play a full season, we may pay you, we may not. And they have the most conducive environment to not spread the virus.
Exactly.
Big, wide open ball fields. It's not a contact sport. They're like, I don't know.
Everybody's at least 30, 40 feet apart at all times.
You could literally have a decent amount of fans at a ballpark and not have to worry about it because they're so far from the players.
Yeah.
And it's outdoors.
Even that one dude in the World Series who mysteriously
Dustin
got
Turner.
COVID and was out there like talking to the coach's face and stuff. He
In the
apparently didn't
seventh-
give anyone COVID.
In the 7th inning stretch. Yeah, you got COVID.
I'm sorry, what? You what?
Oh man.
Just go sit in the dugout over there without a mask.
They're like, we all got it anyway. I mean, if you got it, we got it.
All right. So now on to Braves news. So the Braves GM Alex Anthopoulos wants an impact bat for the team. Now this is when asked what that player entailed. So he goes, it must fill the position of need or defend as well as the player we currently have. 2, must be comfortable hitting third or fourth. 3, must hit consistently without prolonged slumps. And 4, not require a platoon hitter. And 5, have at least 25 homer a year power.
So does AA have like a creative player?
Which is hilarious to me because it's like, all right, what's his name? Ozuna fits all of those except the first requirement,
Fielding.
and then you got Duvall. It's Duvall, as good as Duvall is,
Slumps.
Yeah, he slumps, and well, he's got 25. He does have 25 homer a year power, but he has those slumps. That I've also heard. I can't think of the name of the
Springer from Houston.
No, Houston's. It's another Houston outfielder, Crawford, maybe.
Oh yeah, he's there.
Yeah, Michael Crawford, I believe, and talking about like potentially bringing him in. He's 33, so you wouldn't look to lock him up long term, but I mean he might be a cheaper option than Ozuna and can actually play defense. Is actually a solid defender.
That's just such a silly list though, because it's like there's not a single. That's like saying, oh well, I want a basketball player. He needs to be 7 feet, an elite wing defender. I need him to be able to dunk, pull up from 30. It's like there's not one player who consistently does, like, who doesn't slump. What baseball player doesn't slump?
Well, prolonged slumps.
Yeah, like
because like Freddie doesn't slump.
Yeah, like he might have 4 or 5 games where he struggles, but he gets it back. Like really, Acuna. The only thing with Acuna, he slumps. He does slump too. He gets in these strikeout things, but
yeah.
You know, I think we've built a couple of players that are very close to fitting this description, and I think that's his hope that we can get someone who is of the ilk of like Freddie and Acuna, who can do some of everything. But he doesn't want. I don't think he's willing. Well, Liberty Media isn't willing to pay an arm and a leg for it, though. That's the only thing. And so, in other news, Snicker remarks that Ender Inciarte will report to spring training. He will compete for playing for a job. And then after that, they'll decide what they're going to do with him, basically.
Woohoo!
So I mean, if he doesn't make the team, I mean, he potentially might not make the team, but I think they've kind of exhausted all their options to potentially trade him because nobody was really willing to give up anything for him. So it's like, all right, we'll give you a shot. If you're good enough to make the team, if you work on your hitting, then you can potentially make the team. If you don't, then we're just going to let you go. We're going to cut you. So,
yeah. Right
Just
now,
an
do we have a left or a right fielder on the roster currently?
we do. Acuna is the right fielder.
I mean, he's technically listed as our center fielder right now, I think.
Pache.
Well, is that on the updated roster? I know Pache is going to be our center fielder.
I don't. I think they're going to do it. Pache is going to be the center fielder, and Acuna is going to be right or left. I don't. Yeah,
Probably right. He's more comfortable in right.
yeah. And then we got to find a left fielder, which I think that could be a little bit easier than.
Yeah.
Just an update for y'all. Not so surprisingly, the Clippers have blown another double-digit lead, another 20-point plus lead.
It's
And
almost
they're
like I
now
said
only
it's going to
up
happen in
two.
the season.
Right. Only up 2 at halftime.
Playoff P out there airballing layups, bro.
God. Was that it for baseball?
That is it for baseball.
Now let's shit on college football real quick.
Hey, Micah, what do you think about the number 500?
Number 500.
Yeah, what do you think about the number 500?
I don't know. I have no thoughts
Especially
on
like 500 rushing yards.
That's so old.
It's
Yeah. Ooh, boy. Yeah, that man, that UNC team was putting up some big numbers against that Miami defense. Oh,
Yeah, I don't even know.
we didn't cover it last time, so Ryan made sure he got it in this time.
I don't even know, man. That was unreal.
I've legitimately never even in like 1AA Division II, I've never seen a team give up that many rushing yards in a game. Like these their UNC's running backs went from no names to like draft candidates off of one game.
You give 200
Man.
plus yards to 2 individual running backs. I mean,
Man, I
don't know how you do that.
Man, I had 600 yards in the first few games. Now I'm almost at 1,000.
Averaging 11.7 per carry.
Oh my god!
First down per carry. Ah man, but yeah, I mean we got what we deserved, which is nothing.
Talk about your college ball there, Micah.
So college football. So big thing first things first. The big thing is college football. They did their playoff rankings, and so their matchups will be Alabama meets Notre Dame, and Clemson will have a essentially rematch in the first round of the playoffs against Ohio State. So we get to see Trevor Lawrence against Justin Fields one more again. The funny thing is, because Notre Dame got the brakes beat off of them in the ACC championship game to Clemson, which I said was going to happen because the first time they played them and they beat them, Clemson didn't have Trevor Lawrence. So now a lot of fans are pissed. Well, a lot of SEC fans and especially more specifically A&M fans are pissed because A&M felt that they should have been given the number 4 because they only lost one game this season.
I put Cincinnati, Coastal Carolina, and BYU in before I even thought of freaking A&M. What do they deserve? Anyway, I have a hot conspiracy take about these playoffs real quick that I just want to throw out there. I think just watching how Clemson mollywopped Notre Dame that second time around, and that first time their defense was just like, first of all, Trevor had COVID and he could have played, but he was like a week and a half removed from COVID. He could have played, and the defense just didn't show up that day. My thought is that they intentionally lost that game just so that Notre Dame would get in the playoff and give ACC two teams in there, because everybody knows if Notre Dame only has one loss, everybody's gonna suck their dick and make sure they're in there, even though they clearly don't deserve to be in there. They get destroyed like that in the last game and somehow deserve to play Alabama, who's gonna beat them by 55.
Well, it's not the first time we've seen it, and there are only a handful of schools that they do it for, because they've done it for Bama on more than one occasion, and they've done it for Oklahoma or Choklahoma, who got beat by Darren Sproles in Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game and still managed to play USC in the national championship.
We're talking about BCS. We can't talk about BCS no more.
Well, I'm just saying in general though. There are people there. Those are the only two teams I've seen that the committees give them the benefit of the doubt when stuff like that happens. Like Notre Dame hasn't impressed me all season. Now, the only thing I will say is I think their schedule was tougher than A&M, because
don't even talk about A&M. No one gives a goddamn.
Well, no. I mean, but a lot of people are mad because A&M went 9-1 in the SEC, and the only loss they had was Florida. I mean, it was Bama, which was a embarrassing loss, like 52 to like 20 or something like that. They got stomped out, but they did beat Florida. They beat a very good Florida team. So that's their thing. But the problem is, outside of Alabama and Florida, every team they played was sub 500. Auburn was 6-4. That was it. So it's like you didn't play it. You legitimately had the easiest SEC schedule that you could play, but you want to be rewarded for it.
I just think NCAA needs to stop the charade. One more hot take. Stop ranking teams that aren't in the Power 5 if you're not even going to give them a shot. Give them a different ranking. Like, just stop. Like, what is it all about? Like, why? Why do we even fool these teams into thinking that their games matter?
Yeah, because they've clearly showed they can beat the power teams when given the chance. Not every time, but they can play good games.
Well, like UCF that one season was so good.
Cincinnati's hella good this year.
Yeah, we'll see what they do against Georgia.
Just wait. Yeah, that's all the college stuff, right?
One more thing. Two things. So Florida got in trouble as Dan Mullen violated some recruiting rules. So they get slapped with a probation. I don't know. I think it's only a year or so, but Dan Mullen out there cheating
again.
And so, as a Georgia fan, that brings, well, actually, as a Georgia, a Florida State, and a Miami fan, three schools that all hate Florida. Dan Mullen out there scheming and cheating. And lastly, Auburn finds their new head coach. They get Brian Harsin from Boise State to come over after firing Gus Bus Malzahn. I don't like it. I don't think that's a smart decision. A Boise State coach who knows very little about recruiting in the South, and you're getting him at a major Southern football program. I don't see that working out very well. I could be wrong, but you have to. Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, all of them are very big fertile recruiting grounds for SEC schools. If you're not familiar with those grounds, good luck trying to compete in the SEC.
Yeah. Kind of some not breaking news, but it broke within the last hour. Josh Gordon did not meet his reinstatement terms by the NFL. We don't know what they are, but there is a big chance that he will not be playing again this season.
It's like stop smoking weed. That's like the terms were just don't.
I don't
smoke
think
weed,
I don't
bro.
think it's weed.
Yeah.
Because that's been dropped. It's got to be something else. And if it's something petty like, oh, you were supposed to meet with this person on this day and he just forgot, like, let the man play.
Nah, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, NFL is one of it's hard to tell. I mean, or he could legitimately be like cocaine or something like that because he
If
does
it's something
have problems.
serious, for sure.
He does have problems.
If
If it's something, I'd say even if it's something minor, like if I give you 1,000,000 times and all you have to do to make $1,000,000 is just be on time to a meeting, like I don't know what it is, but if it's something minor, then shame on him. If it's something serious, then I'm prayers for him so he can
it's just dumb that a lot of the things he's now on the short leash for are no longer a problem.
Yeah.
So if you are truly behind the, we don't think marijuana is that big of a problem, and we're not going to test for it like that anymore. You can't hold people that got in trouble for it in the past. You can't hold that against them. They're not trouble players anymore. They're just
you sort of can though, because I think it
I
sets
get
a precedent
rules.
for breaking rules.
I get that, but at the same time, I know Josh Gordon had other problems, but
here's the problem though, and while I understand what you're saying because it's not against the violation, they pulled off of that, but I think if for somebody who's had the drug problems that he's had, they could have just been like, look, we want to see you get sober before we let you in. For your own health, we need to see that you can be sober for however long a time. And if you, and like, granted, while they're not against the rules, we want you to be as healthy as you can be. And if you can't follow that, then I'm sorry, we can't help you.
It just sucks. Shout outs, Rex.
A show shout out. Check out Kingdom on Netflix before the 15th when they're gonna jack up the prices to $17.99. So if that's a threshold for you, go ahead and get it in before the 15th. But Kingdom is a great show. It's about have any of y'all seen it? Kingdom?
No.
It's about like a MMA fighting family based out of LA. And it just goes through a lot of their trials and tribulations. Probably one of the better shows I've seen, like just through and through. It has one of the Jonas brothers in it, and I don't really know any of the other actors, but he's probably the most prominent actor in that. But
Nick Jonas.
Yeah, Nick, really good show. And then Paul McCartney dropped an album called McCartney 3. So not like he needs any help or support, but if you're a fan of the Beatles, go check that out.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Shout outs. I don't really have a shout out per se. Rex, enjoy your holidays. Be safe. If you are going to have gatherings, please wear your face masks, especially if there are people that have not been in your bubble. Keep your distance, as Lionel told us last week, 5 minutes within 20 feet in a closed environment. And most of the COVID cases spread over the last holiday were in that manner. They thought they were good. They thought they were distanced enough. They thought everyone was clear. And, of course, they weren't. So, if you are going to have gatherings, make them small. Enjoy yourselves. I know this has been a rough year and family is important, but there's other ways you can connect. I think that's it for me. I had a good time. Let's head on down the road.
No lightning round.
Oh yeah, do we have a lightning round question?
Mm-mm.
Oh, no lightning round question. Have I asked y'all the irrational fear one?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's got to be something, Micah. Come on, man.
Oh man, I had one a couple days ago, but now that you've asked me,
Well, we can know lightning round it, I guess.
let's be talking in the cold.
I was seeing if Sasha or Nicole had one. They do not have one.
Favorite candy bar?
Hey, my favorite is Snickers.
Snickers.
Yeah.
What about you, Micah?
Twix.
Yeah, I gotta say Twix as well.
Twix is pretty good, man. I do like Twix, but
shout out to Zero Bars, the unheralded Zero Bar.
Zero Bars are pretty good. I'm a Reese's guy though. If you ask me, I'm taking a Reese's all day.
I'm not a big peanut butter candy guy.
I'm not a big Marco fan. Cool. That wraps this up. That was episode 33 in the books. That was a good one, I feel like. Again, stay tuned for some of our guests coming up here in January. Also, if you haven't already, listen to Jaden. If you listen to us on any of the podcast platforms, post us, give us a shout out, give us a share on your timeline. It'd be appreciated. If you watch us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We are Fish and Grits, the podcast. I'm Ryan. This is...
I'm a legend like Larry, episode 33.
And this is...
It's
oh,
your
it cut you
boy.
off.
It's your boy, Big Mike. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all listening. We shall catch you later.
Bye.
Deuces.
Bye.